Yes, hello. I am James Rollins, and today it's a webinar 514. It doesn't get any bigger or more exciting than this. Tonight, heroes will be made and legends remembered forever. This is 40 years of WrestleMania. We are here for night one of WrestleMania 40, and this is going to be unbelievable. Luckily, I'm not alone, and a pleasure to be joined by the entire WNR team. Up first by my side for every WWE and AEW show, it is the fantastic Jassy Scarlett. How you doing?
Hello. We finally made it to WrestleMania weekend. I'm so excited to be here. I'm excited to be able to review this today. I'm excited that we're with the whole group. And I'm excited for this weekend. There's so much to talk about. Bear with us. We'll try and get through everything. But just overall, there's a lot of excitement around this weekend, you know?
Yeah, without doubt. I might have called you Jackie, so I do apologise. I know it's Jaxie, and we've done it for a long time.
It
So
is
long, in fact.
It's all right. I'll let that off though. My auntie's name is Jackie, so I'll take that as a reference to her. Love you, Auntie Jackie.
Yeah, well, like I said, we've been doing this a long time, and it was a WNR 346 with WrestleMania 37. And we're going to make a bit history as well, Jaxie, because much like Roman breaking Hogan's reign, Dan had a record of 5 WrestleManias on the podcast. I mean, he did 32 to 36, but only one had 2 nights on it. He's on 6. So at the moment, you've done WrestleMania 37 to 39, which is 6. So tonight, you actually beat the record of most WrestleManias.
So I'm matched with that.
Yeah, tonight you beat the fucker. Fuck you, Dan.
Yeah. Fuck you, Dan. I've taken top spot. Hell yeah. Wait, have I taken top spot over Monty as well?
Yeah, Monty. I mean, Monty, we get that love you, Monty, but
Monty
yeah,
love
Jackson,
you, but also, haha.
Yeah,
I
man. So you're a new
Definitely
record
feel
holder
the
here.
Love you, Monty. Love you.
Well, you can hear his dulcet tones. So up next, our Western NXT expert and New Japan demigod. It is Monty. How's it going, man? You just finished Stand and Deliver, am I right? But no spoilers. But was it good?
No spoilers. I won't spoil anything. It's really hard because I just want to say one thing, like Dragon off. Oh, special. Anyway, besides that, like I was saying, awesome show. You guys are gonna enjoy it when you get to it. Yeah, man, it's the hypest I've ever been for a WrestleMania. I think it's pretty much set in stone. I've been to WrestleManias. WrestleMania 30 was special because of Daniel Bryan and all the thing he went through to get to his main event. That's 10 years ago now, which is blowing my mind. It's been 10 years since then. So WrestleMania 20, like we can go each decade pretty much almost, and you can just find a special moment from WrestleMania. It's the biggest event by far. And yeah, man, like I said, this is like they've done an awesome job with the bill. WWE is on fire. Like you said, you had Stand and Deliver with like over 16,000 people in that arena, which is like a few years ago, they only had like 5,000 people at the Stand and Deliver, James. We went through those pandemic days. So to think about where they are now and just what wrestling is now, I'm over the moon.
Well, it's unbelievable. Like I said, tomorrow night we will review it in full. But last but by no means least, and I should warn anybody listening right now, maybe turn it down a little bit. Doesn't seem to matter what I do. I'm always number 2. No one knows how hard I tried. I have feelings that I can't explain, driving me insane. All my life been so polite, but I'll sleep alone tonight, 'cause I'm just Ken. Anywhere else I'll be a 10. Is it my destiny to live and die a life of blonde fragility? I'm just Ken. Where I see love, she sees a friend. What will it take for her to see the man behind the tan and fight for me? Oh, but I'm no dreamer. Yeah, I'm just Ken and I'm enough. and I'm great at doing stuff. So hey, check me out. Yeah, I'm just Ken. My name's Ken.
And so am I.
Put that manly hand in mine. So hey, well, check me out. Yeah, I'm just Ken. Baby, I'm just Ken. Baby, that hurt me. The Barbie to my Ken.
Ooh.
It is Gina. How's it going?
I loved it. I loved it. Well done. Bravo. Hello, team. I'm so excited for WrestleMania weekend, and I'm so excited to be here with you guys. So yeah, let's get started already.
Yeah, well, let me catch my breath back. But what a show we have.
Are you okay, James?
I'm
you
all right,
okay?
Mike, I need a little drink.
Shall I
I'm
pass
fine.
the tequila over?
Do you know what?
Wash
Drinking
it down.
does help. Like, I'm not going to lie. But anyway, like I said, what a show we have. We've got predictions, we've got Raw and SmackDown review, Hall of Fame, fun and games. But we start with a bit of news. And did someone say 3 minutes? Because WWE's revealed there's a brand new championship, which is a WWE Speed title, which is basically being crowned via X now in these kind of 3-minute matches. Now, Monty, I'll come to you because I think you're the one kind of more on top of this than anybody else. What the fuck is this about?
Yeah, it's just WWE continuing to expand and just do business in new innovative ways. They kept talking about when they did the Netflix deal that they were going to be doing things differently. I think this is just another sign that WWE is going to be pretty much streamed all the time, other than SmackDown being on USA, I guess, going forward. Yeah, I think that's October or September when they're going to switch over. But yeah, so yeah, they're going to be streaming matches, 3-minute matches. I think they're doing a tournament. I don't know if the women is involved. If they're going to do a women's belt, I think it's just the men so far, from what I've seen. But from the first episode with Dragon Lee versus Ricochet, and I think forgot who the other match was, Bronson Reed and Cedric Alexander. Yeah, I think that's what it was. But they're doing a tournament to see who's going to become the Speed champion, and it's just like you said, quick 3-minute matches. There's sprints as the time is going down. You can kind of see the energy picks up. I think Ricochet and Dragon Lee is a great two guys to start it off with because they just, they can wrestle fast paced. It reminds me of Stardom's High Speed Championship, which is basically kind of like a cruiserweight champion, but Joshi's are pretty small, so they wrestle at a very fast pace. So it's just kind of like that. But I don't think it's a cruiserweight title for WWE. Obviously, with Bronson Reed in it and stuff like that. So it's different. It's completely different. My only thing is maybe you would have more dramatic or better matches if they went up to 5 minutes. But the 3-minute match I saw was pretty good, and I think having matches completely only on X. I mean, it's also kind of like what New Japan is doing, New Japan World Title. Kind of only having those matches free and everywhere you can just put them up, and that's a 15-minute time limit. So it's just, again, another innovative way to give us more content, like us wrestling fans are starving for it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we need. But again, it's drawing in, or at least the first couple episodes.
Yeah.
I think it's got like 4
millions of views, right?
Yeah, more than Dynamite.
Yeah.
But,
Insane.
But again, we'll see if it's, if it lasts it.
We'll see if it catches on or if it's actually going to be. Because I want to know if the belt is going to actually mean anything, Will we have like a speed on pre-shows and PLEs going for it or something? You know what I mean? Like, what are they going to do with it?
Yeah, and again, I'm still waiting for like the Mixed Match Challenge title belt as well. Do you know what I mean? So if we're not having that, then a 3-minute title, I'm like, I don't know. But we'll move on, and there's some kind of, I mean, I don't say ex-wrestlers kind of, reacting about certain things, or even certain wrestlers kind of playing up, but Ronda Rousey has been in the news recently. I mean, there's a couple of stories about her, but one of them, she's got a new book coming out, so, it's all good being sold, I suppose, but she's letting the feelings know about Vince McMahon, basically, and WWE, and saying how, like, with NXT being controlled under Triple H, it was good, but under McMahon, he was a slimeball character, questionable, ethical, many times sued and multiple times accused of sexual misconduct as well. She takes a further shot of him with the laws of Saudi Arabia and saying Vince McMahon wishes that he could as well. Jaxie, with Ronda Rousey again, she's a big star, so her speaking out like this, maybe surprise some people, but is she right to, or is she just trying to sell books,
I mean, you can see it as a bit of both, couldn't you, really? With the fact that she's got this book coming out, it's very easy to be able to say she just kind of wants to add more, mystery behind what could be in that book and create upsells. Everyone would want to do that if they're self-promoting. But at the same time, someone like Ronda Rousey, in my opinion, who is very much a dominant woman who could look after herself, who does not need anyone to fight her own battles. If she's speaking out about this type of shit, then those that aren't listening should be listening now. This isn't something that's going to be taken lightly, and I don't think that this is something that someone of Ronda Rousey's caliber would be willing to speak about without actually holding a lot of truth to it and wanting to put a lot of awareness around it. So for me, this is just something that it's potentially worth listening to, because with what's already been coming out about Vince McMahon and about other areas surrounding a lot of what Vince McMahon's actions were like, they've been overlooked, and they're overlooked because of the amount of power this man has. But we forget that other people have certain power as well, and we can't deny Ronda doesn't have that certain power, that certain voice to get people to listen, especially if it's the truth. So it's something to watch out for. It's something to look up for.
Well, without doubt, like I said, and again, little news stories have been petering out about her, and the latest one was when she was discussing alleged sexual misconduct in WWE. She claimed Drew Gulak once grabbed the string of her sweatpants backstage. She said she was standing there, and this guy barely knew, grabbed the string of my sweatpants as I walked by. I look at him, the guy got the string of sweatpants, and nobody else reacts as if he was wrong. He grabs it and starts going down the hall, and I'm just like, what the fuck was that? Why you grabbed me with my sweatpants? If my husband was standing here next to me, would you feel comfortable doing it? But nobody acted. Drew Gulak, that's who it was. I went and confronted him later, and it was like, if you ever hear about you putting your hands on another woman or do anything like this ever again, we're going to have a problem. I mean, Gina, I'll ask you, did that happen? Or backstage at WWE event in 2022, Drew Gulak saw Ronda talking with a group in a hallway. He stopped to say hi and went to shake their hands. In an attempt to shake her hand, he accidentally touched her drawstring. It was a complete accident, and one that he apologised for the mishap. I mean, Gina, what the fuck is that?
Wait, so have you given me these two different scenarios, and I've got to tell you which one actually happened?
Well, which one do you think? Is it Drew? I mean, how many men have shook your hand in that way?
I don't know why, but I feel like Drew Gulak would be a complete pussy trying to approach someone like Ronda Rousey like that, and even try and attempt something like that. So I'm kind of inclined to go with he went to go and give her a handshake, and his hands, brushed her strings.
Yeah, that's fine. Well, we go to Monty. I'm going to decide this. I'll come back to you, Gina. Monty, what do you think?
No, but I would like for that scenario to be the truth. Yeah. Let me just say.
Yeah. Monty?
Yeah, I think what you said, what Gina said, like you hope the intention would be just to shake her hand, not what Ronda claims is happening. But I'm sorry, like when you look up their height, and you see that Gulak is like over 6 foot and Ronda's like 5'7". It just don't make much scientific sense to me that he would make it all the way down to the drawstrings of her sweats or whatever. I don't know. I'm shaking hands. I guess you can shake hands at waist level, but I don't know. It don't really. I'm not buying it, but at the same time, it can be left up to debate, I guess, if people want to have that debate. But yeah, no, I don't know. I don't like his example. He was better off not explaining it all. If that's all I can say.
I just feel like the bigger question would be like, how the hell did Drew Gulak have the balls to even attempt that?
Yeah,
Found
that's
Ronda Rousey. Like, the woman can defend herself in a heartbeat. Yeah. And
Yeah,
someone like Drew Gulak, and this
in
is
front
not
of people too,
anything
by
in
the way.
terms, yeah, this is not even anything in terms of like, looking or judging Drew as a wrestler, but just as a person. I do not see the likes of him going up to someone like Ronda Rousey and just having the balls to actually even attempt that. So if he did, listen, you are lucky that you're walking away with your balls. That's all I'm saying. If that is true and you actually attempted that and that was what you were going for, that was your intention, you got balls. And you are lucky that you're walking away with them, you know? Don't fuck with Rhonda, because I know for a fact that if you even tried that shit with her and actually even succeeded in touching her in a way that was inappropriate, she would have broken your hands. She would have broken your hands. She would have broken your balls, like, that sort of thing. So I'm disappointed to hear if that is true about Drew Gulak, but he chose the wrong person to try that with, because she would not have let that stand.
no. I mean, the thing is, me personally think that they had an affair, and this is them covering it up. It's the only way, you know. Like, again, this is much like
right there. Okay.
this is much like the Tazara Ripley incident of last year, isn't it? You know, so we're just trying to avoid these certain handshakes. No, I don't know. Like you said, it's crazy to. I mean, a lot of
Both
people
stories
Drew
sound
Gulak,
ridiculous in a way, don't it?
yeah, Drew Gulak. Many thought he's going to be released, so maybe him not. I don't know. You know, it's all about this. One thing we can agree on, though, is how good Dana Brooke is. You know, the former Dana Brooke, and of course we know she's gone to Impact now attached by Elegance. Now, I don't know who I should ask about this, but she has been in a little bit of trouble because, well, let me say the tweet first was someone called Vinny atted her and said Tiffany Stratton has got a far better swanton bomb. Sorry, not sorry. And then Ash said, funny thing is I've been doing it for years and she loves to steal everyone's moves and gimmicks. Knock off Barbie. I mean, again, Monty, with this, it's why even get involved for, you know?
Yeah, that was the first. The first mistake is replying to Vinny. You don't know Vinny. Don't nobody here knows Vinny. Who cares? If Vinny believes her swanton is better, whatever. So that was the first mistake in this entire thing. You don't even have to reply if you're Ash in this situation. And her whole explanation about replying in character or whatever, so be it. Some people's Twitter, I guess, could be in character. Maybe that is the thing. I just don't know why she would assume anybody would assume she was being in character when referring to somebody in a completely different company who doesn't seem to have anything to do with each other. Now, I do believe that her and Tiffany would get along and there's nothing personal there. I believe that because I doubt the wrestlers take anything as serious. They don't take tweets as serious as people on Twitter take them. But again, if like you said, just asking for trouble, man. Like, what was the point? Just leave it alone. Just do your thing, work in Impact, get better. You know what I'm saying? Do what you got to do. Because public opinion ain't been on her side for a while anyway. So I don't know why. Again, you just shut up.
She's not a firm fan favorite, shall we say?
Right,
Yeah,
like put your head down and just work hard because everything when you do something wrong and you're in her spot, they focus on it anyway all the time. So you're better off just putting your head down, do your Impact work.
With Maxine Dupree, I think that would probably be the best bet for her. But it's
No,
not.
I wouldn't recommend that either. But like I said, work hard and just do your thing in Impact and just leave it alone because it seems like you can't do anything right. Because the gimmick, people are saying she stole from Tony. Then you get this. Then you're talking about somebody else who's very popular. You won't win, Dana. You just won't win.
No. Well, speaking of wrestlers, talk about other wrestlers from other companies. CM Punk, man, started off WrestleMania week, and he was just like, do you know what? Let's just fucking do this. We see him, and I've had to listen to this in its entirety as well. Listen to it, been on the MMA Hour, and basically talking about all the experience in AEW. Now, I'll probably fill up a whole pod in itself, but again, he said that Tony was a nice guy, and he likes his time in AEW. You know, more positive than it is negative, as we know. But Tony is not a businessman. Also spoke about the Jack Perry incident as we were there watching at Wembley with him just choking him out a little bit. Obviously, he can't mention a lot of stuff that happened at Brawl Out, but he said it wasn't him that had to sign the NDA. It was Tony kind of forced everybody, which kind of thought about that as well. I mean, there's a lot of things said. I mean, Jaxie, what first, with CM Punk here, I love the fact that he always seems to call shit. But not only that, but we hear about it about a year later or 6 months later on a podcast, and it's just good, But again, how much of it is Punk telling the truth compared to actually what happened,
Yeah, I mean, again, you don't want to dispute anything. We're fans, we're not there. We don't actually witness these things firsthand. So we can only ever have an opinion on what's actually portrayed to us through social media, through what's said through podcasting, this, that, and the other. You do still have to take into account people's track records. So, okay, I'm not Punk bashing, but we do also need to remember Punk fought with people and left WWE years ago. Came to a new company, praising it in all its glory when things were going his way. He fought with a younger member of talent, and not within 6 months later, taking back everything he said when he first came to the company because things weren't going his way. He didn't just actually argue with a young person, but he also got into a big, massive fight, not like 365 days before this, with EVPs, with other people. So he's a common denominator in a lot of arguments that have happened. I'm not saying that means that he's the cause behind every single argument that's taken place, but we do need to take into account that whatever he is saying on this podcast is only from his point of view, and we're not seeing like a bigger picture from someone who wasn't remotely involved, but they're witnessing each of these accounts, so we can only judge so far. Was I excited and am I still disappointed that CM Punk left AEW in such a short amount of time? Yes, I am. There were dream matches that we never got with CM Punk in AEW, and it's gutting to hear that. It was nice to hear Punk actually say that, there were positives and it wasn't like a complete bashing of the company. But that being said, I just think that there's clearly, it's not a problem with Punk or a problem with the companies. It's a problem with the personalities behind the companies and how things run backstage. And it doesn't always work out. I really hope that, once Punk returns from injury, we do get a decent run that he can end on and say that he actually fulfilled that like wrestling dream that he wanted. It's just a shame that it was cut so short by AEW. I think you'll go into discussion about how AEW have not so say retaliated, but how they have approached their response about Punk, what Punk has said on the podcast. So we'll go into that later, but it's just, it's a little bit of you just need to kind of take what they've said with a pinch of salt, but not really have an opinion on it because you're only getting one side here. So, sorry, I didn't mean to ramble.
That's all right. We all fell asleep. No, I'm joking. Like I said, it's true, though, because the thing with CM Punk is, again, we always take it with a pinch of salt because the company that he hated and called Triple H a mark and all that lot now is kind of loving it. But as also you mentioned as well, when Gina asked you, what did you think of AEW's kind of retaliation? Because I thought they kind of reacted a bit, like siege mentality, sending Adam Copeland out to kind of rally the troops, even though he's not been there that long. But then you've got the Young Bucks, who are meant to be taking the higher ground, that are saying, Cry Me a River, and, of course, loving your work to Jack Perry as well. So what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, it's difficult and annoying because obviously I am a big fan of AEW, but I did find the retaliation quite petty. And I was very, very confused with them sending Adam Copeland out to do a big speech and hoo-ha. if you were going to do anyone, especially like sending an WWE person out there rather than one of your own AEW talents or four pillars, let's say. I also am a bit confused. Like, if you were going to have anyone, then surely I would have thought someone like John Moxley, who, premiered on AEW when it very first dropped. He's been there from the very beginning, and Adam Copeland's been there, like you said, a couple months. So
yeah, but Gina, the problem is the four pillars now. I mean, MJF's not been seen since like December. Alan's got a broken foot.
Yeah.
Jungle Boy or Sammy Guevara.
Yeah. No, it's like those four pillars have definitely gone off and downhill. But that's like, again, why I kind of suggested maybe John Moxley.
Yeah.
Because if you did want it to be an ex-WWE person to show, look, we poached this person from you, and another kind of sort of rub into them, they should have done Mox, because he had been from in AEW from the very start. So or they could have done Jericho, which I think would have gone worse. And then there was somebody else I was going to suggest, but I can't remember. Or you could have got Kenny to just come back and do a big hype. That would have made.
Could have had Joe. Swerve and Joe, who are literally on the physical right now. Either of them could have even just like come out and actually done a good promo, because they are on a hype.
It's not that I dislike Adam Copeland. I think he's great. I think he can, hype up a crowd and everyone loves him. But I still found it very questionable why you're sending him out over others that you do have on your roster. So for me, again, it felt like another petty thing that AEW did to be like, look, we got Adam Copeland and Christian now, So I don't know. I don't know how to take it, but I'm kind of like, let's just, I'm gonna move on and just not.
Yeah. I'll just be pretty chill. It's not big a deal, all right? Let's just everybody move on. But again, Monty, as we talked about, I just choked him a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, Punk gives gold, little golden nuggets. Like, even if he's full of shit,
I love it,
which is brilliant.
Yeah, man, it's the most entertaining. That's why I said my takeaway from it. I watched the entire interview, which, by the way, Punk is always a great interview. You really get to get a lot of his insight of just how he feels about certain things and just the business overall. Yeah, man, it's like I said, whether we know the truth or not, which we don't, we just know from his point of view, whether you think it's true or not, I know who do think it's true. That's CM Punk. Like, CM Punk definitely think that from his perspective that is definitely how things played out. I think it's a lot of stuff to go around. I think the main thing I got from it, the entire thing too, is that he feels that if Tony was really someone of an authority figure, then the brawl out wouldn't have happened, which wouldn't have led to the stupid idea from his point of view of Collision existence, which wouldn't have led to Jungle Boy being whatever he was being from Punk's point of view, which wouldn't have led to Wembley, which, you see what I'm saying? Like, I think he blames Tony.
But again, if Tony had drawn the line in the sand at that point, like I said, Punk didn't want to be in the AEW.
He asked to leave.
That's what he said.
Yes, he wanted to leave. Like, after the brawl out, he did not want to come back, and Tony would not let him go. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to say that doesn't excuse anything that Punk did. I'm just saying from his perspective, anything that happened because of him wouldn't have happened if Tony Khan would have, had a backbone from his point of view and made sure that the Bucks or whoever wasn't throwing weight around. Or, like, for example, when Hangman went off script because he thought Punk was getting Colt Cabana fired, even though, like Punk said, Colt Cabana is still getting paid from them.
Yeah, but that was fucking cold with Colt when he's like, I'm not going to speak to you unless it's with a lawyer,
That's really cold. Shit. Exactly. That's really cold. Like, Colt Cabana tried to patch things up, and he's like, I'm not going to talk to you unless you have a lawyer. But he has a right to be that way. Exactly. But he has a right to be that way because from Punk's point of view, again, this is from Punk's point of view, you can have a problem with somebody and still make money. Brett and Sean is the most famous example. Hated each other, broke a wall backstage fighting before, but went out there and would make money together and all of that. You know what I mean? So from his point of view, you cannot like each other. So again, when the Bucks denied a meeting with him and would not try to patch things up, or when certain things happened where they would not want, where they had to separate and be on two different shows, Punk from the beginning felt like this would never work So again, morale has an effect. If you already feel like what you're doing is stupid, then of course the first time somebody like Jack says something to you, you probably gonna try to choke him. That doesn't excuse it, doesn't make it right. But I'm just saying from his point of view, and I think that's what I got the most from the interview was finally understanding Punk's point of view, because I agree with everything Jackson said. He is the common denominator, and when you take everything that was said, but he also feels like he was slandered. He feels like he was lied on post that. So again, like it's a lot to go. You can go deeper and deeper and deeper.
But I love the fact of Punk as like a Chuck Norris. Walking in the back, not killing anybody. Like, I'm going to choke him a little bit. I'm going to choke him a little bit. Catering's not right. I'm going to choke you a little bit. I'm going to choke.
And that's what he said. He said, if you believe I'm a maniac, he said that. If you believe I'm a maniac going around fighting everyone, then please do believe him alone. Because, and that's why I feel like it's somewhere in the between. Like, yeah, I don't think CM Punk was a maniac ready to fight everyone, but at the same time, the only backstage fights we really know about at AEW got Phillip involved. You know what I mean? So again, it's a very, very great interview though. I recommend everybody to check it out, whether you on one side of the fence or not, because it just really gives a good perspective. Now, unfortunately, since Tony refuses to talk about CM Punk, we will probably never get the other side because we got NDAs involved and all of that, and Punk and Tony don't want to talk about it anymore. So hopefully, maybe this will finally die down and people can move on. That's why I kind of agree with you guys about Adam Copeland. If AEW just ignored it, this would have been perfect. I feel like they've been doing great television and everything. So why acknowledge it? Why do you need a speech on television for that? If you're going to do that, do it off television. Do it for the live crowd. I don't think you need to, or do it backstage. I don't think you need to acknowledge every little thing that goes viral about AEW. You know, because you think, we need to show it. I need to come out and post my tweet that AEW saved my life. Like, yes. Or like, for example, everything Adam Copeland said, yes, that's true for you. I'm glad. I agree with you. I'm glad you're enjoying your time. I hope you're still having fun.
To be fair, Adam Copeland said, at this point in my career, I am making the most money and doing the least amount of work, and I'm loving it. I've got no doubt you are. Like you said, we've got no doubt.
Yes, I don't disagree with that. I'm pretty sure you're loving everything about it. You get dream matches every week. I'm pretty sure you love it. But Phillip said that's not the business he wanted to be in. He thought he was trying to help them make money, help them sell tickets. So again, it's a philosophy thing too that's in there. And again, I'm not trying to say anything wrong with AEW. I love what AEW's been doing, but I'm just saying that you get to see the different thought processes about a company, and it's little things. Like, I hated the fact that when he first got injured for 6 months, for some reason I keep hearing these stories from wrestlers from AEW that keep telling you when they get injured or when they're not on television, they get ghosted. What kind of stuff is that? Like, what kind of top-notch company don't make contact with you to help you get physical therapy when you get injured and that type of stuff? That's the type of stuff that really concerns me when I hear about it. Not so much the drama and all of the pettiness. It's just like, if AEW wants to be a top-tier company, they're going to have to get on top of some of these situations, you know, going forward with talent, because you shouldn't hear about somebody getting injured that they don't hear from the third place they work for 6 months.
No, that's true. And again, I found it quite interesting, especially after like last night's Hall of Fame. I reckon in 15 years' time, Tony Khan's going to be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame because of AEW, and then we can find out the real story there, you know, like. But again, who knows what could happen? It's a crazy kind of world that we're living in, and CM Punk is definitely kind of in the news at this moment in time. And again, it brings interest to the product, you know. Like I said, the rating on Raw, and we're going to talk about it in a minute as well, between him, McIntyre and Rollins, went crazy numbers, you know. So people are interested. Whether it's true or not, I guess we'll find out, or maybe never, you know. But we're going to catch up with Raw and SmackDown now. And we're going to start with Raw March 4th with Cody and Seth starting the show with a promo. Rollins revealed a new nickname for the Great One, dubbing The Rock Diarrhea Dwayne. He claimed that ending the bloodline is the biggest thing he and the American Nightmare could do at WrestleMania 40 at Philadelphia. Gunther murdered Dom. Katana Chance, Kaden Carter lost to Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler. Liv Morgan got involved with Nia Jax and Becky Lynch. Andrade made his Raw re-debut, beating Apollo Crews. Judgment Day beat Imperium. Zayn beat Ivar. Michael Cole wore antlers and mentioned Sting retiring, which was a nice touch. And in the main event, McIntyre easily beat Jey Uso, even though Cody tried to distract Drew. Solo showed up to try even the odds. Jimmy may have been there somewhere, but I didn't see him. Rollins ran out, blowing past McIntyre as if he did not exist. The look on McIntyre's face as Rollins sprinted past him to fend off the bloodline was one of seething anger. He was disrespected, and he expressed it. And much like Jay had moments earlier, Rollins let a Claymore as McIntyre again implored the fallen champion to rethink his vendetta against the bloodline as the show went off the air. And Gina, I know I'm Drew McIntyre's biggest fan, but if Rollins keeps disrespecting and forgetting Drew is there like he has done for the run-up to Mania, McIntyre will kick his teeth down his throat. You've got to agree with that. You've got to have focus on McIntyre.
I mean, I think for sure McIntyre just plans to do that anyway. You know, I think he's been wound up enough with Punk and he's just going to take his bad attitude and bad mood out on Seth, you know. So I definitely think he's going to be coming in hard with that.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see. And like I said, McIntyre's going to get the job done. But more of that maybe tomorrow. SmackDown March 8th, United States champion Logan Paul kicked off the show with a special announcement. A historic first for WWE. His Prime Hydration will be the centre ring sponsor of all premium live events moving forward, beginning with WrestleMania. I mean, Jaxie, this is just what we want. A huge Prime bottle on a canvas whilst we're watching WrestleMania.
That was one of my predictions. So it's a spoiler that I had that all along. I just had an inkling that that was what was going to happen because we, the fans, wanted it.
Well, we see
In case
chaos.
anyone who doesn't know me, that was sarcasm at its finest. Just as a FYI.
I was
Okay.
about to say, like, Jesus Christ, what's happened here? Yeah, KSI showed up. Randy Orton was there. So was Kevin Owens, and they sent the heels running. I mean, again, like I said, New Japan has a line, WWE has a bottle, so I'm sure it's fine. There was a pop-up RKO combo actually on Theory, and well, it was on Austin Theory. That was a great finisher. Backstage, we see Kayla Braxton sat down with Bayley, who admitted it's been a tough week for her after Dakota Kai betrayed her a week ago. She failed to tear down the very damage control that she constructed. Back in the arena ride between Bobby Lashley and Cameron Cross continued to the Almighty squared off with the leader of the Final Testament. It ended in DQ. Now, Monty, I've had a go at AEW in the past, but is there sometimes stretching a feud out a bit too long without having payoffs in between? And it feels like this Final Testament, Bobby Lashley and crew feud has been going on for months.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things. I think another problem is since Bobby Lashley and Street Profits they've been together, but to be fair, they haven't really been together long enough to do anything really of note, really. So you don't. It's not like you have the Final Testament taking down a crew that feels bigger than them. So they both of these groups still feel relatively new. So it's like, what are we necessarily gaining here as we continue to put this off, continue to do the beat down? It just feels very generic. Like I said, I think when you have so much going on during WrestleMania season, you want to make sure people like Bobby and the Street Profits, you want to make sure they're involved in everything. You want to build up the Final Testament. But I think, like you said, it's already kind of getting stale, and but they're maybe as the weeks go by, they'll continue to try to actually at least give us something of a payoff when we get to Mania.
Well, this is the thing, and again, I don't know if there's not enough time on programming to kind of do it, but it feels like this feud and also the AJ Styles LA Knight feud is not kind of having extended segments. It seems to be more kind of either like pre-tape promos or just little things like this. And again,
it's very generic.
Exactly. We saw AJ cutting a scathing promo on LA Knight, and again, just all right. The Rock, though, did have a fancy new lightning bolt to his entrance on SmackDown, and the main event for WrestleMania was confirmed. It will be Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins squaring off Roman Reigns and The Rock on Night One. Of course, as I read this out, it was a week from The Rock acknowledging Roman Reigns, and there was still a little bit of tension between them. The segment ended with Cody slapping The Rock, and The Rock giving a little smile. I mean, Gina, again, what we've seen with the build-up, with The Rock slapping Cody at the press conference, this match being announced, the way they've done it, even though we knew the match was going to happen, it's been kind of really good story told up until the point.
Oh yeah, for sure. And that's definitely thanks to, The Rock, Roman, Cody, all of them involved being able to give good promos. Again, this feels like we knew this was coming, but the excitement is still there because each week they have definitely invested in the story and how they want it to come across and keep the fans enticed into the match, and keep the fire going. So yeah, I don't blame them because they're doing a great job. So, and I didn't think Rocky would be able to get boos because he was just so over before he came back. So the fact that he's able to get booed as much as he is at the moment is actually really good in showing how he can get the universe to just flip on him like that if that's his choice.
Yeah, I think without that we've seen the kind of controlling of the crowd. Like I said, the little things him and Roman are doing, even to kind of, well, is he on the same page? Is he not? And again, even the babyfaces are working really, really well. Move on to March 11th Raw. Drew McIntyre opened the show, again insisting that he does not need a bloodline to help him win matches, which of course is true. The soon-to-be former World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins interrupted, essentially called him a liar before telling his number one contender he was capable of handling multiple things at once. All right. He wrapped up the promo by attempting to goad McIntyre into losing his temper, but telling him the least of his problems, minimising him and diminishing the significance of his title opportunity. Rollins is obviously running scared. Becky Lynch beat Liv Morgan in a great match. Ripley arrived after, but no fight ensued. Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell squared off with Ivor Nile and Maxine Dupree. There was little to the match, but it was LeRae's heel turn. Poison Pixie criticised Dupree for attempting to backward worm and then told her the women in the locker room hate her more than the fans do. She also referenced Dupree's late brother. I mean, Jackson, it's all well and good getting a kind of heel over, but I mean, is this the thing? Do we really need this? Or, at least Candice has got a little bit of development.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a fine line, isn't there? When you make things personal and bring things up that maybe fans weren't expecting and stuff, and there's a slight uncomfortableness as to whether or not the wrestler who is involving is comfortable with having references made such as that. So yeah, it's weird. I don't know where they're going with this, but we'll see.
Well, also, don't listen, Jackson. We've got women's tag team title match with Baszler and Stark losing to the Kabuki Warriors. I don't know what they're doing there, really. But anyway, we have Cody in ring interview with Michael Cole, obviously getting emotional and saying he's going to finish his story. Priest beat R-Truth. Jey Uso wasted no time making his WrestleMania 40 intentions clear. He wants a one-on-one match with twin brother Jimmy Uso. Then the gauntlet match for the Intercontinental title shot at WrestleMania. Ricochet started beating JD McDonough, and then Bronson Reed pinned Ricochet, Sami Zayn pinning Reed, Nakamura, and then finally Gable. There's been a lot of people, Monty, arguing about this finish. Was Sami Zayn the right choice to face Gunther at WrestleMania, and did Gable have to lose like this, man?
Yeah, I think the second question is probably the better part. Like, you just don't, I would just prefer if Gable would not have been. If not that I don't want him not in this match, because part of me is maybe he just shouldn't even been in the match, because now it's just don't even tease me, because that's obviously the good story. You gave that great video package. You showed his wife crying or whatever the last time, So, yeah, man, you would think honestly that Gable would have this in the bag. I don't want to say Sammy is wrong though, because Sammy is so damn good. The match is great. Sammy's awesome. I hate that Sammy's kind of getting put in this spot where it's it's Sami Zayn here. Think about where Sammy was last year when he main evented WrestleMania and everybody was behind him, and now it's just you had a section of fans after this match who was not happy necessarily that he was the guy to win, and it's nowhere near his fault. It's all because of the fact that everybody was behind Gable. Gable made the most sense. If Gunther's reign was gonna end, I think a lot of us, after their feud earlier this year, we felt or this past year, we felt like that Gable was the one. If you're gonna end it, Gable should be the one to do it. And I still partly feel that way, but at the same time, Sami Zayn's awesome, so I don't feel bad. He did say he's going to become a champion. We know that Triple H loves from Sami Zayn, and It's just that the thing is, Sammy's a 3-time Intercontinental Champion. No one is wrong when they're bringing up the flaws and the logic. Gable's never had that achievement. You can make a star in Chad Gable by making him end that historic run instead of having Sami Zayn, who we've already seen be made a star multiple ways, whether it was beating the Usos last year or whether it was pinning Roman. So, Sammy's already a made man. And I think that's the problem. That's the problem. Sammy's a made man. Yeah. So it's like, why does he need this when you can make another guy in Chad Gable?
Well, Gable's never won the title, has he? Like you said, so winning the Intercontinental title would be huge. Like, Zayn would just be like, oh, it's my fourth. All right, okay, let's move on.
Right.
But again, it'd be interesting to see what happens. Anyway, move on. SmackDown March 15th. The Rock came out solo to open SmackDown to a massive ovation and Rocky chants. His music changed to Hollywood Rock, which kind of took me back then about 22 years, man. And I was like, oh, it's back. Like, I remember the helicopter at No Way Out 2003. Like, that,
yeah.
that Rock, man. That's me. I was like, Booker T, I was like, oh, yeah, man. He spoke about his past before sitting down with Mike to sing a song. He had two guys playing guitar and Monica. He sang a song about Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. The song was obviously the usual array of jokes you would expect from Rocky. He made some sex puns, called Rhodes a mistake, mocked Rollins for having a successful wife. Once the song was over, the Great One showed some clips of Rhodes slapping him and crying while talking about his mum, the final boss. Gina, you just mentioned it. He's getting the booze, and then he does a Rock concert. Again, he is riding that line between kind of becoming loved by the crowd and making sure Cody is the one the crowd should be behind.
Yeah, for sure. You saw that even with the video package, of, the Wrestle Kingdom's reaction to just what Rocky's been doing to Cody. So it's definitely impacting the wrestling universe. But it's also kind of funny because you still hear how loud the crowd gets when the Rock's music drops. So regardless as to whether they're booing him once he's on the mic and he's doing his promos, he's still getting so much wow and praise because everyone's excited that Rocky is in their town, and coming out and seeing them face to face. So he's still got that hype, and even though he's getting all these boos, which he wants as his heel character, is working because you're getting people to love to hate you, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and then again, another thing as well, just this whole build to WrestleMania hasn't felt like kind of, the part-timers aren't there. Like, it felt like The Rock has been on TV near enough every week. Do you know what I mean? So we're actually getting developments of the story as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, we'll move on. SmackDown Tag Qualifier, LDF beat LWO. I mean, how many tag tournaments does the LWO want to be in? I mean, seriously, are they going to enter the AEW one in a minute? Like, it's a bit too much overkill. Orton beat Waller. It was announced Logan has to defend the US title versus Owens and Orton. We get Sandhorse beating Dragon Lee with Carlito and Ray both scared off LDF afterwards. LA Knight challenged AJ Styles to a match. Styles attacked him with a chair and accepted. Bait and Dunn beat Pretty Deadly. No boy. And in the main event, Bayley versus Kai. Damage Control got involved a bit, but Bayley still managed to overcome the numbers game. Kai ended up being disqualified. Naomi showed up to try and make the save. Her efforts were for nothing as she got beaten up. Again, I was pretty sure this was... I mean, Monty, I don't know if you know, but I'm pretty sure this was Dakota Kai's first proper match back since injury. And it also looked like Oscar might have had a little injury here as well, which doesn't help.
Yeah. I think she seemed to tweak something. Hopefully it wasn't anything too bad, too major. She's been pretty good with injuries for most of her career, so far. So let's just hope that, I guess, it's nothing too bad. But as far as Dakota goes, I think this is pretty much the first time she's really gotten physical, in this match. And it's just great to see her back. I think it's one of those things where I kind of took away from it. They're telling a good story. I like it. But I'm also just happy to see her back in this position. She's someone that me and you, we've been watching NXT, man. It's crazy. She spent so much time in NXT that when you look up when she started in WWE, you almost just forget about how much time she's been in the system, and she's only been on the main roster for, like, I guess, since the SummerSlam before last, right? So it's insane. It's insane. But man, this was again, I like the story that they're telling here, and I'm just glad. I hope that as we continue to go on, that everyone continues to just get healthier and we can get a good, blow off to the situation as we go.
Without doubt. Raw March 19th, Jey Uso kicked off Monday's Raw and wasted a little time calling out his brother Jimmy. Just days after the match between him at WrestleMania 40 was made official, Jimmy joined his brother in the ring and after a few disrespectful words, found himself receiving of a hard right hand. Distraction from Solo allowed the heel to retaliate, set the stage for a 2-on-1 beatdown until Cody made the save. But one of the things I've got to ask, and I need to ask, Jaxie and Gina. Jaxie, I'll start with you first. We're getting Jimmy and Jey at WrestleMania. I know how much Usos mean to you. Other way, this what is it like? Can you tell us at all what they could be possibly feeling in a storyline way, and also even in real life, if you know what I mean?
You know what? That's a good question. And to be honest, I'm pretty sure it was either yesterday or the day before that my sister and I actually had this conversation about this match between Jimmy and Jey and kind of what they must be feeling from, like their point of view. And as well as, kind of what this feeling is like from a fan's point of view. And in a nutshell, to be able to be going to WrestleMania and being one of the highlights of you versus your sister, that is just an incredible feeling. And it would be something that would definitely, if me and my sister got into wrestling, that would be something that would be on our, checklist that we would want to do, like a big match, 1v1, at the biggest stage of them all. So they must be on cloud 9 right now, knowing that they are actually fulfilling this dream. I've heard in previous interviews that they both have said that if they were ever to face one another, they would only ever want it to be at WrestleMania. They never wanted it to be a one-on-one ever in a singles match, like on SmackDown or Raw or anything like that. And they've stuck true to their word. And look, they've made it to WrestleMania now, so they must be feeling incredibly proud. From a fan's point of view, and from being a twin myself, this is absolutely heartbreaking. This is one of my most anticipated matches of the night, and that is because I've got a mixture of different feelings going into this. I'm invested completely. I need to see an outcome. I need to see a winner. But at the same time, I'm also from a twin's point of view, I'm like, okay, once this match is done, you two need to kiss and make up right now. I'm so over this heartbreak. I cannot help but put me and my twin in this situation. And, from a kayfabe point of view, twins turning on each other is just it's heartbreaking. So I really hope that once WrestleMania is over and done with, we will surely but shortly see them reunite and be back together, because for my peace of mind, I need them to be reunited by the end of this year. I just can't take it. They've been apart from each other too long for my liking.
Well, I will say, Gina, you've been betrayed by Jaxie in the past. What's it like when a twin does
James,
turn,
why do you have to bring that up? You stir shit so much. Why do you have to bring that up?
Let's not betrayed me in the past when you chose that other girl. When you chose that other girl, I'm taking you back. When you chose that other girl to go make donuts, do you know how I felt as a 6-year-old sat at the table doing paints without you? It was boring as fuck. It was heartbreaking and boring. So I feel this. Oh gosh,
you did this, James. I hate you.
Honestly, it's just as my sister said, we literally had this conversation a day or so ago, and again, I can't imagine how incredible that it must feel for both Jimmy and Jey to be having their own match. Like, me and my sister know what it feels like to be in your living room. Your mom's your only witness who's cooking it behind, and she's like, don't break anything. And you and your sister are watching wrestling whilst wrestling each other. Those two, the Usos, have definitely been through that and thought to themselves, how amazing would it be if we literally were taken back to that memory, but on WrestleMania, like the biggest stage that you could wrestle. So the whole match is about us two. There's no other wrestler involved. It's just about us two. That's the most incredible feeling I can imagine that they're feeling right now. So I'm so happy and excited for them, but I'm also like, stop fighting, please, because I don't like fighting with my sister.
Do you worry that Solo will get involved though? You know, and what side will she pick?
I don't know, because I have so many different thoughts about what Solo is going to do. You know, because I don't know if they're going to reserve Solo for. I don't know if they're going to reserve him for helping out the bigger dogs in their match, and whether just to leave the twins to it, you know. And in my mum's kind of words, you just leave the twins to it. She took us to the park, and we would scrap in the park against each other. The other mums would get the fight,
come back 7 days later.
Yeah, like just leave them to it. They'll be friends in like 5 minutes, so it's fine.
I
don't know about Solo. He is a bit of a trump card, isn't he?
We're not even an hour in. This is one of my favourite podcasts of all time. And I should mention as well, because last time I did a podcast, the fire alarm went off. Everything's fine. I should say that.
That's a good point.
When Monty panicked.
No one died, right?
No, it was fate trying to tell us that, you know, that my predictions were going downhill. That's what that was telling us.
Well, if you ever want to listen to an NXT update being wrapped up quickly, that literally is the episode. But anyway, we'll move on, of course, to WrestleMania. And we got on Raw, Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano are heading to WrestleMania for the first time in their WWE careers, following a victory over Julius and Brutus Creed. We got Candice LeRae heel turn, which might actually work. Cody Rhodes had a couple of words about The Rock's concert. Zayn and Gunther signed their WrestleMania contract. Zayn vowed to dethrone Gunther. I'm still not sure. The Miz and R-Truth were in the 5 teams after qualifying with victory over Indus Sher. Drew McIntyre was rudely interrupted by Seth Rollins. Rollins admitted to being a spotlight junkie, telling number one contender that every time he steps through the ropes, it's his fix. He brought up his tag match with Cody, which the Scottish Warrior obviously took exception to. He questioned why the focus could not be on them for the world title, rather than Rollins need to involve himself in something that didn't concern him. Visually said McIntyre's wanted the spotlight since he won a WrestleMania main event in front of an empty arena and proceeded to apparently fumble the ball. I mean, what a load of shit. Rollins said he thrives under bright lights and will do so, even though he hasn't main evented a WrestleMania. And again, Jaxie, I don't know about you, but why is he telling children to take heroin? You know what I mean? Like, come on, Seth. Like, be saying like this. Don't tell them they need a fix. All right? It's disgusting.
I'm pretty sure that you're the only one that took that way.
Heroin. oh, no, sorry, the joke. Go on, no,
go. Yeah, the joke. Yeah. Let's not take that seriously yet. Oh, kids, don't listen to this and actually think he was really doing that. He wasn't. James is just very defensive of Drew, and you have to just accept it. We all do.
Well, dare him to say something negative about Drew.
Oh, you wait. You wait. Yeah, wait. It's going to happen one day. The new
one day.
Xavier Woods headed to WrestleMania as well, beating Alpha Academy's Akira Tozawa and Otis. We got a push Dijak sign, which is always good, Monty, when you see it.
Yay, my boy.
And then we got Becky Lynch setting a rivalry with Nia Jax in the last woman standing. Lynch showed the extent to which she was willing to go to defeat Jax. I mean, someone should tell Becky that she's got WrestleMania match coming up, because diving off a ladder and trying for the announce table, trying to score the victory. But, I mean, Monty, again, we've seen some great last women standing matches, especially in NXT. But this was a great one, and Nia showing that she belonged, and Becky get momentum on the way to WrestleMania.
Man, that's the one thing about this, man. That's the one thing that's kind of a damn shame about the card so far, at least from what I've seen, that seemingly Nia will not be involved with WrestleMania 40. Man, if it's anybody so far with just their work and what they've been doing the last 6 months, or pretty much since she's returned, that's like you said, that match right there with Becky, really, really good stuff. It seemed like pretty much this entire feud leading up to the match with Rhea, Becky's been going out there and just putting on really good matches with the rest of the division, to kind of get this feud going. We all know what Becky is. She's a star for a reason. One of the best women performers and just performers in general probably of the last 15 years easily is Becky Lynch. And then you just have what she's been doing with, and like I said, the elevated effort and just belief, and just you can just tell Nia's having the time of her life. So yeah, like I said, it's a shame almost that she don't seem like she's gonna be involved, because she really deserves it if you're just going off her work.
Yeah, I'd never know what happened to the Women's Battle Royal. I mean, I know obviously it wasn't the mood or whatever,
Right.
it was a Mae Young, but again, something like that at WrestleMania or on SmackDown to feature all
On the
the women.
pre-show, something.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, come
yeah.
on. Anyway, move on. SmackDown, March 22nd, Rey Mysterio versus Santos Escobar. And I don't know about you, Gina, but sometimes I watch SmackDown or, wrestling, think, have I put on 2023? Because when I saw Dirty Dom costing his dad the match, I was like, what the fuck? Is it what? What? Again, but Dirty Dom, I guess, had to feature at WrestleMania somehow.
Oh yeah, for sure. The minute Ray returned, I knew, okay, this is where they're going to bring Dom in, because I knew that they would give Dom and Ray their WrestleMania moment. I always felt like they would have a WrestleMania moment, but against each other rather than like being in a tag team. So for me, I kind of saw this coming, but I'm not mad at it, because it's, again, another core memory for a father and son, to be having a match on one of the biggest platforms, So yeah, I kind of saw this coming.
Will we see Theory and Waller battled Anderson and Gallows for a spot at the WrestleMania 40 card in a tag team championship match? Waller and Theory won, but the OC's booking is confusing. But also, I mean, Jackson, what a come down for Austin Theory, beating John Cena in the opening match, and now in a multi-man match at WrestleMania. It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, he's had his ups and downs, hasn't he? It's really hard, because I actually started to really like his character kind of when he came out of that sort of egotistical selfie phase. And then sort of he's been paired with Grayson Waller, and I don't actually think that this has been beneficial for either of them. They've been put together as a tag team, and even though I find them entertaining, I don't know how successful they will be as a tag team. I just kind of, as a tag, I feel like they've become more of a joke tag team, So I'm not really sure how things get better for them, or how things go up from here for them, especially when, as you put it, Austin Theory last year was beating John Cena at this point. So what does that say about like how things have gone, how that year has gone for him? I'm not sure whether or not it's going to continue leading downwards or upwards at this point.
Yeah, it's really, really interesting. And again, we know, especially in NXT, Theory can play like goofy. So if they kind of want to do that, but again, it's weird to think just how far the drop off really is. We see the Street Profits beating Authors of Pain, with Ford getting an upset win with the inside cradle. Before she came to the ring, Naomi had conversations backstage with both Bayley and Bianca Belair, who did not get along at all. As we know, Io Sky was late for entrance because she's too busy backstage beating up Bayley. So Naomi was gearing up to win. Damage Control ran down for a distraction, so she could hit over the moonsault for the pin. Naomi tried to fight off the rest. Belair came down. Fortunately, it was a little too late. Damage Control ended the segment standing tall. Looks like they're going to need an extra woman. We get Kevin Owens punching out both members of Pretty Deadly at the same time in the backstage segment. No, boy. But again, Monty, Kevin Owens punching out people is still funny. Like, he's the gift that keeps
so funny. So funny. And between what happened on the latest SmackDown and stuff like this, James, man, what we gonna do, man? How we gonna get Pretty Deadly taken seriously, brother? Like, they're not even remotely close to the ladder match. Like, what are we gonna do, James?
Do you know what's really bad? Is I was watching the Stand and Deliver kickoff, and they were given a great video of the tag team ladder match. I was going, you're not even in it.
Yeah.
Like, you're bigging up
not
6
even
other
in
teams.
it, man.
The final 25 minutes on SmackDown was a standoff between Rhodes and Raids, who both promised to show up alone. None of what we heard was new, but Rhodes did a good job planting seeds of doubt in Reigns' head. Jimmy and Solo showed up, but so did Jay and Seth. The show ended with all 6 men staring each other down, leading to Raw March 25th with Cody Rhodes hit the ring to another thunderous ovation. He did say Wankfest. I'm pretty sure he did, but I'll have to go back and maybe listen to it. With The Rock making a surprise appearance, the Great One whispered Saint in the American Nightmare's ear and walked away to a chorus of boos. but as we've seen, Gina, with the progression of this, you know, like I said, Roman Reigns is not alone on SmackDown, and then The Rock shows up on Raw. It's kind of like, it's nice to be surprised every now and again, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely was surprised when I heard the music drop because, again, you don't expect it. You're just so used to the set, you know, roster showing up on each show. That's what you're expecting every week. So it is really nice to just be surprised sometimes.
Yeah, I think without a doubt. Another surprise as well was, of course, CM Punk returning to the All-State Arena. What an ovation he had. Wasted little time sparring with Drew McIntyre and World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins. They all threw verbal bombs, including personal digs. Drew told Punk he doesn't do drugs, but spends most of his time in rehab anyway. Punk told him he's going to make them interesting. There was a lot of stuff going on here. But, I mean, like I said, Jaxie, first and foremost, I mean, what are your thoughts on this? Because this is the segment I mentioned earlier that did kind of like, I think, 2.2 million or something like this, which is massive for Raw. Obviously, people want to see it. What do you think between these three men? And it's not just about McIntyre either. You know, the other two were there.
Which segment is this? Is this
This is
one on
when,
Raw?
Yeah, on Raw, when Drew kind of sat awkwardly on the announce table. I knew he should have wore jeans, and he did later in the night. But again, that's something I'll get on.
Yeah, I mean, especially when he actually made that comment of, like, don't fill me up my skirt or something. It was like, then you just drew more attention to it. So it was like, oh, why did you even say that? It's so annoying. And to be honest, they big it up, and this actually kind of, I think this helped the situation between, like, the match of Drew and Seth, because it's been very overshadowed with this whole tag team match that Seth is a part of, all to do with Cody's storyline, rather than doing anything to sort of like enhance Drew, or, you know, sort of his bid, like, in terms of Seth is not taking his match seriously with Drew. So I mean, for me, again, and this is not me trying to feed your fantasy of Drew and everything, but this helped Drew. This helped his situation of being like, you are not taking this seriously, and you do not realize that I am coming for that belt and I'm going to take it. And during that whole promo, I actually felt like, do you know what? Drew might actually take it, you know, because Seth really has focused so much on The Rock and on Roman Reigns and how he can help Jay, how he can help Cody. You know, he's really not focused on Drew. And I think, like, this was a great segment to actually put over the Seth v. Drew match at WrestleMania.
I think without doubt. Again, there was a couple of things in this that you just kind of don't see. I mean, Monty, obviously, with creative control, it's great. But sometimes trying to maybe talk over each other or get like the wise cracking. And again, there was a couple of moments, Seth walking right by Punk and not looking at him. And then Punk, when he left, just walking straight up the ramp. And it's like, that's complete no-no, because you need to turn around and kind of, the camera face.
Just ignore
you know
him.
I mean? My mind was getting blown. I was going, you're not doing it right. I've watched wrestling for this amount of time.
Loved
You're
it.
not doing it right. Like,
and I think that's why it went so viral. It was something that quickly, it was one of those things that you can call your friend and be like, yo, cut on. It was one of those rare moments that we don't really see much anymore, because not only because it's just a different era where people don't watch as much television live, but I know for a fact, I was telling my friends about it, like, yo, cut on Raw right now. Like, they're not, this ain't scripted, right? You can tell that they have lost the plot of whatever they were originally trying to get across, because they were just throwing lines back and forth, and just like CM Punk, oh my goodness, and Drew said he'll be the chosen one, and CM Punk hitting him with the, oh, who chose you? Go ahead, say his name. Oh my goodness, like, and Drew couldn't even do anything but smirk, because he know he can't say the old man's name. So it was just awesome, man. And then, like you said, the body language, CM Punk's reaction when Self's music hit, just like, God damn it, another person I hate is coming out here. Like, it was just, it was beautiful. Like, it was awesome. The crowd wanting him to referee, him proving to Self literally simultaneously, and Self was like, he can't count. I don't think he's gonna be able to count. You know, he hurt his arm, and CM Punk literally got down and counted 1, 2, 3. Right, and for like, it was just like you said, they broke all of the rules that you usually follow in these, you know, kind of like formulaic WWE style promos. I think this was everything but that, and I think it was obvious from the beginning that these guys were allowed to go out there, have some fun. And I think even as much as these guys supposedly don't like each other, you can tell, they were having the time of their lives together out there. Like you said, Drew held his own. Seth looked like a champion, and Punk was awesome as he always is in his home environment in Chicago. So it was just great. It was a beautiful segment. And it was just one of those moments. It's kind of like everything that The Rock been doing, how it just feels different from anything that we've seen over the past decade or so, or plus in wrestling. So I think this was just a very, very fun segment, and you're 100% right. It added an entire new element to the match because I think even in my mind, I was like, it's obvious. Seth is too preoccupied with other things. Drew was going to win, and people might not even too much care about it because it feels like a foregone conclusion. But when you add Punk into the mix, somebody that both guys hate, now, like you said, you got the Bret, Shawn, Undertaker, SummerSlam back in the day, possibility for a finish. You have all types of stuff that you can do now with Punk being in there. Now you can even put the doubt in people's mind. Maybe Drew won't. Maybe it's not so obvious that Drew will win. Maybe it's not so obvious that Seth can just ignore Drew. Now you have to take into account what's going on, even though Punk is only going to be doing commentary. It was beautiful. It really added a nice element to that World Heavyweight title match that I think it really needed because it was kind of in the shadow of what The Rock and Roman and the bloodline stuff with Cody. I think now it has its own spot and it's going to be sought after besides the fact that it may be a moment for Drew. You know what I mean? It's going to be notable for something else now.
Yeah, because this is the thing as well, because Punk said it on the podcast, and he said it before, and again, his body might not work, but his mouth does. And his mouth is money at this moment, and this is what it is
exactly.
Between the kind of three of them. With Rollins getting a cheap shot on Drew, delivering a stomp to the Scot to close things out. Candice went full heel, faking an injury, and pinning Ivy Nile. Backstage, we see Paul Heyman could be seen talking to Drew McIntyre during a vignette with DIY. DIY versus New Day ended in a schmaltz, as it's known, when Judgment Day attacked everyone. Andrade defeated Vinci in a good match. Becky Lynch and Rhea Ripley faced off. Eradicator bringing up the name of the man's daughter. Turned the volume to 11 for a brawl between the women's. And we had to get a pull apart as well. Big Bronson Reed beat Sami Zayn thanks to Gunther. Great preparation for WrestleMania. And Chad Gable, frustrated, no doubt, told Sami Zayn needs a new approach or he's going to lose. And elsewhere, Seth Rollins had a bad feeling and approached Jey Uso, saying that he's got his back if he needs it. In the main event, Jey Uso beat Nakamura. I feel a bit sorry for Nakamura as well because, again, he's been featured so much in main events and Raws, the past few months.
Right.
And yet, he's not going to get a
no
spot.
Story for him.
Yeah.
Right. So
Again, I quickly say, I actually just want to say about this as well, because I mentioned this to Gina when I think it was Nakamura versus Jay, and I was like, wow, okay, so Cody struggled to beat him and had like these big sort of like promoed matches, two great matches between Nakamura finally to get over him, and Jay just won just like that. Like, what are they doing with Nakamura? It's just disappointing. I feel like he has ups and downs. Like sometimes he's on an up. Like he's one of those guys that like has a different week. On a different week, he's on a hype, and then in the next week he's not.
I think without a doubt, and again, it's really weird to kind of see what's happening at this moment in time. There's no doubt it's talented, but yeah, there just seems no kind of direction at this moment. Afterwards, though, or during, a brawl between Rose, Jimmy, and Sikoa continued backstage. The Rock arrived attacking Cody. He beat him down, berated him, talked trash about his mother, and repeatedly threw him into this travel bus. He left Rose bloodied and then smeared some of the special weight belt that read Mama Rose and closed the show by talking trash. Gina, I cannot remember a Raw that ended, or a Raw that was that good for so long. And again, I don't know if it's The Rock, I don't know if it's Cody, I don't know if it's just a story or whatever it is, but The Rock looked fucking awesome here. And again, I know we've spoken a lot about it feels, but my God, what a segment.
Yeah, again, everyone knew The Rock could act, but we've seen his movies. The thing is, seeing it here is just like, it just takes you back to, when he was originally in wrestling and not a known actor. It's just crazy to see him so brutalize someone like that on screens on WWE TV. We haven't had that sort of brutality on WWE TV in a while. So I think it's only fitting that The Rock brought it back, you know. But it was great. It was impactful, as we can tell from the universe, just, you know, releasing all of their videos and tweets about their reactions to that scene. It was clearly impactful, and it was great.
Well, you don't fuck with the final boss. I mean, that in itself is a great line. I mean, I wonder how many people want to be called the final boss. Oh, call me final boss. The Rock is.
I
And
also
again,
think that he has a pain fetish, and he's like, "Yeah, just go for it. Just beat me up.
just hit me.
Give it."
Just whip
I
me.
was about to say, "Give it to me hard," but
Give it to
sounds
me
so
hard. Yeah, and that's what we want. But again, even after the filming stopped, The Rock was like, why do I care if the filming stopped? And still, so again, you've got that.
Yeah, just still kept going.
Yeah, you've got this
Yeah,
thing. And
I mean,
again,
like, when you saw that part after, like, backstage, you're just kind of like, maybe The Rock has got some real tension here. Like, shit.
but this is what we've spoken about, and this is why this run to WrestleMania is so much fun. Is because we're going, look, I know this shit is predetermined, whatever, but that fucking wasn't. Do you know what I mean? But when you're getting it 2 or 3 times on a Raw, you are literally going back to, you know, like you said, the Attitude Era or Monday Night Wars, when it was that kind of exciting. It was unbelievable. March 29th, SmackDown, even though they're not at Mania, Pretty Deadly did get the biggest win of the main roster run, Monty. Don't worry about that. They beat Owens and Orton thanks to Logan Paul. Orton so Paul scurrying under the ring during the replay. Paul pull out and began beating him. The Viper and the prize fighter chased him off out of the arena. We get Nick Aldis welcome Cargill to the ring for her first official appearance as a SmackDown superstar. She gave a brief promo to introduce herself. It was surprisingly short. I mean, I had to rewind 3 or 4 times just to make sure I'd got the full promo. Santos and Dom will face Ray and his partner Dragon Lee. Much like Jaxie did to Gina, rather than choose his brother, he picked a new member for the LWO. Legado didn't have a great night on top of this, as Dunn and Bate beat them to get into Mania. We've got a quick backstage segment with Solo Sikoa and Jimmy Uso. AJ Styles came to the ring to talk about his upcoming match against LA Knight. And Knight planted someone in the crowd to distract AJ, and he attacked him dressed as a member of staff. Again, this is one of these. I mean, Monty, I know I've mentioned it, but it was just like, oh, maybe a little bit more. You know, like, I don't think either of them have wrestled for a couple of months. You know, and again, it's just like consistency in booking.
Yeah, I agree. I think again they're doing a good job. Them two are making the best of what they've been given. Like you said, they just haven't really been given much so far. I think that's basically the problem. But I love LA Knight in the disguise. He actually they actually did a pretty good job of making him just look like just an indistinct security guy. Even though with the camera angle and where AJ was standing, I was like, no, he's definitely about to pop up. And then he took off the hat, and then there you go with the spot. So yeah, I'm with you. They definitely seem to be, and this is what like I said, maybe they're creatively drained, if you know what I mean. Just so much, putting so much energy in so many different things, you only can do so much. But maybe that match itself, though, I think if it go a brutal route, that might surprise us because they seem to be taking the angle pretty personal. And I'm gonna be honest with you, guy traveled all the way to Australia to cost me a belt. Like, it is pretty personal, you know?
Well, the main event featured Belair taking on Kai. ESC hit the KOD for the win, but Oscar and Corey Sane ran down to attack her right away. Naomi showed up to make the save, only to end up being beaten down alongside Belair. That's when Jay Cargill came out at the end to even things up. She took out Damage Control, posed with Belair and Naomi, and it looks like we might be getting a 6-women tag team match at WrestleMania. Jaxie, Jay Cargill's here. What are your thoughts?
Well, this is just every little girl's dream, really. Just seeing just the utter dominance that came from Jade the moment she walked into that ring. That is exactly how you want to, like, introduce someone, you know? The way that it was just left, it just was perfect. Just seeing, 3 queens in the ring, dominating, looking to take some control back of the women's division. So this got me excited. This got me very excited. I mean, everyone, I think, know that I have a soft spot for both Bianca and Naomi, but everyone knows how much I love both Oscar and Kairi Sane, even Dakota Kai. So overall, I'm excited to see these 6 women potentially be like actually performing at WrestleMania. You know,
I think without
this
doubt, like,
this was great for the women's division.
yeah, I mean, and they all look like stars. You know what I mean? Like we said, it's good. We can get like a secondary women's feud, even if it's not for like the main kind of titles, which is always a good thing as well. Move on to Raw. The last Raw, April 1st. The Rock opened it, hitting the ring to a mostly positive reaction from the fans. He talked trash, ran through his no-mo shtick for Roman Reigns, Solo Sikoa, Jimmy Uso, and Paul Heyman joined him. Reigns took credit for the final boss beatdown on Cody Rhodes a week ago, but he said that not much else really of substance. Seth Rollins made his way through the crowd, and he laid a challenge to WrestleMania opponents for a one-on-one match later in the night. Whatever stipulation they wanted, Sikoa accepted, and The Rock revealed it would be bloodline rules. I mean, Monty, what the fuck is Seth's problem? I mean, we've not even touched on Damian Priest yet, right? Because we will. But, like, why is Seth doing this? Is he a fucking idiot?
Well, I mean, he's kind of been open to you about why he is a attention whore in a way, I guess you could say. He wants to be in the spotlight. And also, you know, he feels like he is the last line of defense. And I think also based on what happened later, this is also part of him being the architect, I guess, because this is, I guess, supposed to be a setup. But, you know, no damn way he's going to get the final boss to fight him on Raw, even if they are in Brooklyn in front of all those
crowd
people.
Believed it.
Yeah, the crowd wanted it. Now, that's the funniest thing to me about this, and I love Solo. I've been trying to defend people on the internet are starting to hate Solo, and I'm like, it's all booking. I'm trying to tell you, like, Solo, when he was allowed to talk, he was awesome. Like, I promise you, just give him time to hopefully the bloodline, whenever they split or whatever happens, he gets to show what he used to do in NXT. Because you know what I mean. Like, when he had a little bit more personality, he was pretty cool in NXT. But the crowd, when they settled on Solo, it felt like for the rest of the night they never got as loud as they did for that segment. Like they just was relaxed after that. You're like, oh, okay. Well, we thought we were gonna get the Rock to wrestle for us. No way he was fighting, and Roman don't fight on regular shows either anymore. So, like,
even do Roman first so he can get a big cheer, and then the Rock. Don't do Rock and then Roman.
Right, don't start with the Rock because everybody, exactly, everybody after that is like, we don't really care to see them. But what about the Rock? Yeah, so no, it was great though. It was awesome. I didn't mind the segment too much, but I'm with you. Like Self, as far as logic goes and being smart, I want to say this is him trying to set the bloodline up. So we'll see how that work out later.
Yeah. Well, one of my favourite films, speaking of The Rock, is Rocky III. And seeing the Chad Gable, Sami Zayn training montage kind of had it all, apart from the dancing in the sea. Zayn took on Bronson Reed, but Gunther appeared and dragged the battered and beaten Gable onto stage. Gunther then attacked Zayn too, leaving him reeling. I mean, Gunther, again, it's not like we've had a lot of reminders of how dominant Gunther can be this past few. I know this title reign, but like when you see this, you go, "Oh yeah, he's gonna fuck him up." There's no doubt about it. Ripley and Lynch had a great brawl. I guess we're gonna get Stark and Baszler rebuilding after WrestleMania, and I could ask what happened to Chelsea Green as well, but we just move on. I don't know why they put Tegan Knox with this team, but Damage Control needed the win. In the main event,
somebody got to lose.
Yeah, exactly.
Somebody got to lose.
Seth and Solo squared off in the main event, and again, this looked good. I mean, there was a couple of crazy table bumps as well. We see Seth hitting Sikoa with a stomp, with Jimmy Uso breaking up the pin. Jey Uso fended off the brother, only to find himself wiped out by The Rock. Cody rushed to the ring. I mean, it's quite a cool moment where Seth kind of smirked at Rock, and then Cody's music, who got that massive baby face kind of pop as well. Yeah, coming out, but Reigns stopping it as well, and then The Rock basically whipping everybody, whether it would be Cody, whether it would be referee or anything else. He just did it. I mean, it's pretty cool. Again, Jackson, we've spoken about it a lot, but The Rock is just all in here, isn't it? And again, the Go Home show is just him beating the piss out of them. And did you think at this point, like, if they're beaten down this bad, like, how can they possibly win? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's definitely a way to continue hyping up what's to come, on WrestleMania. But yeah, it does leave you. It's just left me very much questioning what the hell's going to happen at WrestleMania at this point.
Yeah, I'm just like, how are they going to recover from that? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And then SmackDown, April 5th, of course, last night. Kevin Owens show with Orton joining. They agree with the crowd that Logan sucks. Logan was at the WrestleMania set, so Owens and Orton decided to go see him. For some reason, Theory and Waller were under the ring. I don't know why, but then they gave chase. We saw Owens get himself on a golf buggy, and then we went to the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. I wasn't dreaming. This happened. A lot of competitors in this matchup. Don't get me wrong. And also we saw Omos dusted off, which again, you don't see him that often. Apart from he's like the Butcher in WWE now, where he only shows up in like Battle Royals and kind of like Royal Rumbles.
Yeah, they cracked him out to make an impact. You know, they're like, oh, when do we need someone to make an impact? Oh, get Omos off the shelf.
That's sort of what we need. Where is he? He's in the other warehouse with the giant men. You know what I mean? That's what it's all about. I'm trying to get the participants. Not that it really matters about who was in there. But again, I said, because you're not at WrestleMania. Ricochet got a proper entrance, as did Omos. Pretty Deadly got eliminated by Omos straight away.
Are you sure they were in there?
Yeah, honestly. I mean, Elton went on his own accord, so I don't mind
He just
that,
left.
really. You think that's bad? What about Cameron Grimes and Apollo Crews? Hey, what about them treated like nothing?
Oh,
Crews was Intercontinental Champion a couple of years ago. Thank you very much.
Oh, hold on, wait.
Go back
Grimes
to
was in
NXT, Apollo.
Cameron Grimes was in it. Yes, he was. Blink and you miss him.
I was trying to keep up. And I kid you not, I never once saw Cameron Grimes.
I was on
Don't
the
feel
outside.
bad. Me either.
Well, to be fair, they went to an
I
advert.
think the worst disservice was Jinder Mahal.
Yeah, well, he
They
hinted
mentioned-
Jinder.
Literally,
Former
Michael Cole was talking about Jinder Mahal, the only world champion to be in that ring, and he got eliminated as soon as he said that. So it's just like, yeah, that world champion gone. He is gone.
Isn't it funny when they go to an advert or an ad break and you think to yourself, oh, okay, right, not much is going to happen. And we come back and it's carnage as Omos has accidentally eliminated himself.
Eliminated. It was definitely an accident too, man. I've seen big men do the choke slam thing every time, and I've never seen the big man
I
go
thought,
over
how is
two.
it possible? How has he done a Titus over the
He was
top?
going too fast. Oh, it
I
was
don't know.
hilarious.
I tell you what, I was shocked though when Jordan Devlin got rid of Ricochet. I wasn't expecting that. I was quietly confident Ricochet. Thank God we didn't do predictions. Tozawa eliminated JD and got thrown over by Otis. We then got a meet-off with Ivar, Otis and Reed. Reed final two with Ivar. And then Big Bronson Reed with a rolling thunder, even though I thought he was maybe having a seizure. But no, hit the move. Eliminated him. Big Bronson Reed, 2024 Andre the Giant winner. Gina, I'll come to you because Bronson Reed, missed out on Elimination Chamber in his homeland. But is this the start of something now? He says he's going to watch Intercontinental title match very closely. Could this be his year?
I mean, I definitely feel so. Again, I actually was like you, James. I kind of had Ricochet for the win, especially because it was him and Omos who were the only ones to get their entrance. So I thought, right, Ricochet's got this. So I was shocked when he was eliminated. So when I saw the remaining participants, I was just straight away Bronson Reed. They're going to give it to him, especially because he did, as you just mentioned, miss out on performing in his home country. So I'm not mad at it, and I'm excited if they are going to elevate Bronson, but please don't ruin this because I like Bronson. So if you're going to elevate him, then fucking elevate him. Don't put him up there for 2-3 weeks and then let him get squashed by the Miz the week after. I just no, that's no offense to the Miz, by the way. Sorry, I just it's just unrealistic when this big meaty man is going to lose to someone smaller, or so you would expect. So if you're going to elevate him, then do it well, please.
Let's hope he's more Jey Uso than Mojo Rawley with Andre the Giant Battle Royal winners. And again, when Michael Cole has to kind of mention Cesaro and Big Show. You know the list isn't that successful in its own way. Another thing on SmackDown, you can have too much Logan. He was at the arena, Orton and Owens were under the ring, and Logan ate a stunner and RKO. Monty, when did this turn into, like, comedy? Like, again, it's not as funny as maybe they had it on paper. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, I think it was a creative way to show off the set. If you didn't see it online, I thought that was a positive from it. But I'm with you. And I talk about it whenever I think that's a Sunday match. So I talk about it whenever we predict the match. But yeah, the angle, the energy around the angle has been really light for something that even though Logan Paul generates a lot of heat, it hasn't been one of those. It's nowhere near the blood fuse that we have so far on the card. And I guess you need that on a card like this with so much going on, so much story. But yeah, man, like you said, not anywhere near maybe as funny as they thought. But like I said, at least they got to show off the nice set, and it was cool. The payoff we got later was fun at least, so I can't get mad at that.
Yeah, but again, like Jolly Owens always has me a little bit worried for whatever babyface he's in the match with. But again, we'll talk about that.
Oh, of course.
We do. Zelina Vega versus Elektra Lopez was more about the LWO and LDF developments. We see Dragon Lee found by Carlito injured. I mean,
didn't show it.
I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying. Andrade, who said he's joining Judgment Day, accompanied Dom with Santos, but a distraction by Dirty Dom allowed Elektra Lopez to hit the Electra Shock for the win. Afterwards, Yex Kong and Esper tried to beat down Ray, but El Idolo turned on them, saving Ray and Vega. Looks like WWE maybe gone a different direction because Andre was meant to be in a more Battle Royal, but now he's taking Dragon Lee's place. I mean, poor Dragon Lee. But again, Jaxie, this was big for a couple of reasons, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I have to actually just point out, I feel a little bit bad for Dragon Lee if he actually isn't injured and he was just written out of this match to make room for Andrade, because, they made a pretty big deal of Ray, like, introducing him into the LWO. So just to be sidelined straight away, that if it's not a real injury, that doesn't feel good, But personally, for me, I got majorly excited seeing Andrade come for the save, especially seeing Zelina and him reunited. I think this is what a lot of fans wanted. They were hot together, and I hope that this is the start of them actually reconnecting and actually rebuilding what great relationship that they had on WWE before, because they were a great duo, and just having him, like, not necessarily, we haven't seen anything about him necessarily joining the LWO, but, like, at least coming to their aid. I like this angle for Andrade, and I'm excited and eager to see, like, kind of where things will lead for him. So, yeah, let's see where things go.
Well, yeah, Carlito was McIntyre. We should say that as well. But anyway, Blair, Naomi, and Jade Cargill all dressed like cowgirls. It was like a dream I had. Really weird. They had a message for Damage Control. They're walking in the Isle of Storm. Bait and Dump beat Theory and Waller because why not? And then the main event, Solo versus Jey Uso. Jimmy Uso broke up the pinfall. I mean, how many pinfalls has Jimmy Uso broke up? You know what I mean? Like, is there a record for a wrestler to have broken up that many pins? Like, even with Jay, it's like 6 over the past few months. So I'll look into it. Anyway, we see Cody and Seth arrive. They sent Sakura to the floor. Then Jay splashed his brother. And the American Nightmare promised that he, Rollins, and Jay would walk out victorious at WrestleMania. Rose promised a better story would begin after he defeated Roman Reigns. So, Monty, what are your thoughts then? Not only on this, but the kind of build to WrestleMania as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like you said, it's been awesome. It's had some great moments. I see a lot of people who I don't usually see talk about wrestling year-round really excited about the show. And I think a lot of that has to do with The Rock, of course, but just, again, the involvement. Do you know how easy it is for people to kind of catch up with what's going on when you explain to a casual fan that this is Dusty Rhodes' child? Dusty never was able to win the world title, and his son is trying to do what he couldn't do, and You know what I mean? It's such a digestible, easily relatable story for people who probably stopped watching or who only know names or anything. So again, it's really drawing a lot of eyeballs right back to the product. I love that. And then as far as the storyline for this particular match, when it comes to the bros go, Jay kind of being able to stand tall here. It definitely kind of leaves you wondering on where we heading this weekend, where we heading tonight, because that match is a Saturday match. And then also again with Cody, he kind of said it. That it's going to be a new story. A lot of new era talk I've been hearing towards the end of this WrestleMania Bill week, and we'll see, man, because it's just one of those things. I kind of wish that he could have at least gotten to knock down Roman at least once or twice on this route. But I mean, come on, at this point, I think we pretty much can expect that Roman is not gonna. When Roman goes down, it's probably gonna be at the biggest show of the year if he goes down. So yeah, man, I love the Bill. It's just been a lot of beautiful elements, a lot of great storytelling, and I just love the fact that the energy around WrestleMania from people who are not hardcore wrestling fans, they are really into it too. So it just feels like this can literally be what they're trying to make it out to be, which is the biggest WrestleMania ever.
Yeah, I think without a doubt. Well said there. Right, so now we're going to fuck around a little bit. And again, people listening live, the WrestleMania kickoff starts in 10 minutes. So there's like a 2-hour kickoff, but we can lead you in there. We've still got predictions to come. We might fit a game in, got the Hall of Fame. I just want to talk some time traveling. Please indulge me. This is for other people to maybe take a little break, but it's fine. Again, I was going through some stuff the other day and I found a script. And believe it or not, it was a script. Back in the day on the podcast, I used to do paper scripts. Look, you can hear the paper there. And this was from NXT TakeOver Respect, which is from 2016. But what I found crazy about it, just a couple of things, I'm not going to spend too long. First off, it was Oscar versus Dana Brooke. And I think I was better then than I was now. Because I put, wow, I mean, if you hadn't seen Oscar before, it was like a firework display had been set off in the ring with colourful attire and explosive move. Oscar was a woman looking for retribution, and she did pay back Dana with vicious kicks and submissions out of nowhere. Unbelievable. I mean, that was the first time I saw Oscar, which is crazy to think. But the reason I'm bringing it up for is because the NXT Women's Championship match was Bayley versus Sasha Banks. And this is what I actually said. This is crazy. I did say it wasn't as good as the Brooklyn match, but again, as we're talking about it now, they exchanged excellent moves. I can't find the bit I actually was going to talk about. So much. And I was saying not only that, but these two women who can wrestle as good as they can, and basically saying that we'll look back in 10 years' time and realise that they've changed the kind of roster as it was. And then when you think about it now, I mean, this was 2016, so what's that, 8 years ago? And now you've got Bayley, who's going to be in a women's match at WrestleMania, and of course Sasha Banks, who just signed for AEW. So it's crazy to think the women's revolution and kind of what it changes, but I just thought it was crazy. And another crazy thing as well, the WWE name. The WWF, as we know it, was trademarked, filed in 1980. And after 22 years as World Wrestling Federation, they officially became WWE. So they changed it May 6th, 2002. So this year on May 6th, which was 2 days after the WNR's anniversary, the WWE will be in for 22 years exactly. So Monty, I'm basically saying the WWE is going to be longer in existence than WWF. That just blows my fucking mind.
Yeah, it's insane. That is insane. That's what a fact that is, like that. And then when you put it in that proper, I was like 7 years old when they made the switch. So that's insane.
I know. So anyway, I thought maybe, I mean, Jackson Gina, I don't know about you, but I don't know if you fancy a masturbate or not. I don't know. But I was thinking maybe we could do Jaxie versus Gina and have a little bit of fun. I mean, again, we don't have to, but I think, maybe debating Jimmy or Jay would be quite fun.
Oh, but that could get real personal, and I think we've all seen how personal we could get. I don't know if that's a good idea.
Gina, she sounds scared.
I'm not. I'm just saying. I'm just.
Could you two even choose a twin? That's the question. Which one did you choose, Jay?
Well, no. What about we do then, Jay or Solo?
Like
Because then,
What do you want us to debate about it?
You have to pick
Like
one.
who is better?
Yeah, basically. And again, with Solo and Jay, it might be a little bit easier because obviously there's other things you could use in the argument.
I wouldn't know how to debate this, to be honest, because I don't know who is better. Until we see this match at WrestleMania, it's going to be really difficult to like ascertain. Okay, well, Jay is definitely better than Jimmy, or
What about
vice
Rock
versa.
and Roman?
I mean, the thing is, with Rock and Roman, I'm don't know if obviously Rocky definitely has been back into training, but I don't know how good he's going to be at performing again of that to that caliber. We're not going to see the dramatic Rocky that we saw back in the Attitude Era, who would oversell moves. You know, I'm worried that like something will mess up. I don't know why. I just am. So, I think Roman will look better than Rocky.
It's not about, it's about you two. Like I said, I'm going to give you 24 hours. Like I said, you both got 24 hours to go to the subject you're both going to masturbate with. All right?
Okay.
And we'll do it tomorrow.
We'll discussion on what we think would be like the better discussion, either Rock v Roman or Jimmy versus Jay. We'll have a discussion.
Or whatever you think's best. Whatever you two could argue about, whatever it is. And I said Monty as well. We'll do it tomorrow. And then again, we'll face off, and then the winners will face each other. Maybe we have a third round playoff tomorrow as well. So Monty, come up with something that you and I can argue with. And again, we'll do that tomorrow. And then people can listen to that tomorrow, and it can be nice and fun. All right? So masturbate. We'll get the job done. It could be certain stuff. I don't mind whatever it is. And with WrestleMania weekend as well, there is so much going on basically everywhere. You know, from Thursday, it seemed every independent company had a wrestling show that was around. Of course, Josh Barnett's Bloodsport was a very big deal, with Charlie Dempsey making a surprise appearance. Of course, we saw people like Nick Khan, CM Punk, Liv Morgan, Sonya Deville, Braun Strowman, Karrion Kross and Nia Jax there. And of course, Shayna Baszler was wrestling. I mean, Monty, this is something I love about WrestleMania as well, is how big it is and how other companies kind of latch on and probably have the most successful show of the year as well.
Yeah, I saw someone say one of the stupidest things I ever seen online about it. I guess they don't really like WWE, and they was like, imagine how great this weekend would be for wrestling without the Fed being involved. I'm like, it wouldn't be exist then, like, because you can't have all of that wrestling without WrestleMania. Like, why do you think everybody is in Philadelphia? Because they know almost 100,000, if not more or less, wrestling fans are in Philadelphia right now and gonna be wherever they go next year. Just like when I was in New Orleans for 34, you had all types of stuff going on with NXT and other promotions, and just it makes people a lot of money. Not to mention the local wrestling scenes in those areas. Usually they run a show or run a couple of shows because it's just wrestling fans everywhere. And it's just like you said, it's one of those things that now that we're at WrestleMania 40, and it's I know it's made it to heights that even when they started WrestleMania, they had no idea it would get this far. But what it does for everyone, I mean, look at Ring of Honor Supercard, again, and all of that. Like, I think all of these big shows that they decided to do during this time, you playing around WrestleMania, you playing to get some of that, fanfare. So it's like you said, it does wonders. Bloodsport was great to see people from literally every promotion. AEW, you can go Defy. You just had wrestlers from under the sun, GCW, everywhere, all on those cards fighting. And to see Shayna Baszler fight Amisha Slamovic, or to see I know Charlie Dempsey had a match on there. Just to see the different talents mingling and seeing everyone just be together. It just shows you how strong, in a perfect world, wrestling could be like this year round everywhere. But again, it's just the industry is the biggest example of how great wrestling is doing. If you want to realize or see that or you want an example of just what wrestling is and how great it is, WrestleMania weekend and all the shows leading up to WrestleMania is a great example of it for wrestling fans.
Yeah, I think without a shadow of a doubt. And also, as well, we had a Stardom show where, of course, we saw the appearance of Tony Storm. I never knew, though, that Mariah May, Mina Shakira, and Zaya Brookside teamed together. You know when you're late to a party,
Club
maybe?
Venus.
Yeah, I know. And I saw the entrance
right.
and I was like, my God, I've wasted my life. I'm pretty deadly. Again, like we said, we
Mina's
see...
awesome, man.
Without a doubt, man. What I saw of it, like I said, Tony Storm showing up as well. Natalia was in attendance. I mean, Jaxie, again, it's not just kind of like, it's women's wrestling as well. We're trying to talk about it. Even with Jade Cargill, I mentioned Mercedes Moné, you know, there's stuff going on here as well with Tony Storm and Stardom. It can only be good.
Yeah, I mean, I think I mentioned this before when we discussed like the announcement of the 6-woman tag at WrestleMania, but right now things are on a high. We've got like, you know, more than just a title match, a women's title match at WrestleMania, and it's a big headliner. You know, it's featuring big women with big personalities that actually a lot of young girls and young women and adults such as myself look up to. So that there can only be an up with this. I just hope that, you know, this not only elevates the women's division, it elevates their titles. I hope it, you know, brings a lot more creative storylines coming for the, you know, women's tag division. And, you know, we'll see about where things go. You know, we've had like great announcements come even to NXT for the women's division. So there can only be an up from here, you know.
Well,
I'm excited to see what's going to come.
I was going to talk about this earlier, and I'm never sure, you know. But again, I want to ask all three of you, you know, your thoughts on if it's possible as well. Because again, something that maybe doesn't get mentioned about because, you know, we are a team, we're a family here. But again, even with Bianca Belair, seeing Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, and Naomi, you know, being a team and being that kind of stronger influence, of course, being, you know, people of colour, and also with even NXT Stand and Deliver with Mello and Trick. I mean, Jaxie, for you, like, how important is it that this generation is actually getting the kind of the stuff that maybe even you didn't when you were a child, you know?
I mean, for me, and again, without getting too personal about my own personal life, you know, there was a time that I was actually training to do stunt acting, not full actress work, but stunt acting. And a lot of my drive and a lot of my training was through, you know, local wrestling schools from where I lived when I was young. And the thing for me is that a lot of the drive that I had to go from was my father, who is a taekwondo and martial arts instructor, and my uncle, who actually is a martial arts stunt actor. So as much as I loved the fact that they were sort of my drive for growing up and what I wanted to do when I was younger, it was still men. And that's not taken away from like me watching young, you know, like attitude era of looking up to China, Lita, and Trish, but there was still something that, you know, inspired me more with like of the men in my life that was driving me towards that goal. To actually see women of color, women of different builds, women from different backgrounds, you know, women of different ethnicities, all actually headlining different events, carrying titles. This, for me, probably would have actually, if I was growing up, I actually like to think I might have been a lot more successful in achieving that goal of stunt acting. I obviously did not go down that route, and we won't go down that explanation. There's no need to, but I'm just kind of explaining, like, if what we had now was in my life back then, I feel like I would have had more drive when I was down and when I was injured to not like give up so quickly, you know, to have these women to look up to. it would have just given that extra oomph, that extra, if they can actually do it and if they can actually make it, then I can too, sort of thing. So yeah, I'm just saying that this is just a dream come true, just even from an adult age now, for me to see these women shining in their own right. It's a dream come true. I'm so proud of all of them. I'm so pleased for all of them. And this again is another one alongside the Jimmy and Jay Uso match, is one of my most anticipated matches of the night, or
Well,
night two.
well, no, like I said, thanks.
Yeah.
Being so open, like, you know what I mean. It's great. I mean, Gina, it's the same. You know, like I said, growing up as a wrestling fan, we spoke about it's off air about kind of like being cool or kind of stuff like so. Even trying to fit in, in a weird way, and it's something that kind of I've never really had to deal with because they all look like me,
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just touching on what my sister said, again, not that we're looking for any form of sob story. This happens for everyone, but when we were growing up, there wasn't a lot of, black women elevated or on top. And I don't just mean in WWE, I mean anywhere like it that we had sight of, let alone mixed race. And we went to a school where the first few years of our lives we were the only mixed race in our years, and it was kind of a bit of a mentality of we're not enough for one side, but we're also not enough for the other because we're both a mixture. So again, looking at what is being portrayed to the younger generation now, and the younger generation, whether you're black or you're Mexican or you're Asian, you look on the TVs now and you've got representation everywhere. And I can imagine how incredible that would have felt for me as a child to see something like that, So again, I'm so happy on how far everything has come since when we were kids, but it also kind of gives you that not bitter taste, but it's like, oh, if I had seen that, I know I would have been more motivated for this, that, and the other. So yeah, it's catch-22.
Well, this is the thing as well, isn't it? And again, Monty, I know you've mentioned this. Is just because maybe like I just see you guys like Jaxie, Gina, and Monty doesn't mean everybody else does. And rather than just sitting around twiddling my fingers for them, it's time to actually talk about it and kind of openly. And Monty, as you know as well, like we talk about with like kind of Trick Mello and everything like that. It's just for me, it's just because they're great athletes, but it is bigger as well,
Yeah, again, I not only can relate to it in a way, a lot of what the girls just said, but it's just also like you mentioned, it always means a little bit more to us, especially me, from a perspective of just like I remember growing up, and the explanation I was always given was that it wasn't that many of us, or just like we weren't that interested, which I never really bought or whatever that was a good enough excuse. But I do remember growing up, and like you mentioned earlier about being cool or thinking this and that. Like I was told vividly, I'm from the southern United States. We pretty blunt. They let you know wrestling ain't for black folks. That's what they used to tell me all the time. So to see that whole entire dynamic, change, instead of it being a couple of us here and there, and instead of us having the racist or racially charged gimmicks and or things that people from my community looked at a certain way, and to kind of just see us be lumped in as just athletes, to have someone other than The Rock. I know some people do that because The Rock is part Samoan. People wouldn't. It's black people who wouldn't accept The Rock as black, and I always been one of those people who push back hard against that. Of like, no, the Brock was my representation. He was one of the only people that even remotely looked like me that was on top. So to act like he isn't, a black world champion, I always resented that. And it didn't matter who you were, it didn't matter what you were doing. I didn't even understand Coco Beware growing up when he brought the parrot and all of that type of stuff. But I love me some Coco Beware because he looked like me. Junkyard Dog, like all these guys I look back to find, and it was even rarer back then. They paved the way for the type of stuff that we get to see today. And to now to have a daughter and to be able to show her, even though she's way too young really to get it now, but as she get older, I can always go back and show her Jade, Bianca, and Naomi all standing together, or show her Bianca and Sasha a few years back when they made history, or even like you mentioned, Mello and Trick headline the first time since 2001, since SummerSlam when Booker T and The Rock did it. I watched that match. I love that match, by the way. So again,
Yeah, that
Booker
was
T
such a
was my guy. He was, like I said, he lived not too long. He was the only thing. Booker T was the only way I even knew that wrestling was remotely attainable for somebody like me. Was growing up with somebody like Booker T until you start to know or learn more about independence. Then you have a Shelton Benjamin. Then you have a Bobby Lashley, Ezekiel Jackson. Like I can list so many of them throughout the years, but they were all automatically people that I kind of held. They meant more to me than your average debut, or you know what I mean, Kofi. You know what I mean, leading up to the New Day and just Xavier and Big E and just all the way to where we are now, and having people like Javon Evans who completely new. As you saw, James, you may not even know much about him. That kid is 19. He's completely brand new. But I'm already on top of it because when I see somebody like him who looks like him, who is that athletic, I immediately turn into that little kid again. Like, who is that guy? I want to be able to do that and all that type of stuff. And even if I didn't, like you mentioned, if I had, I can only imagine what it is like now to be like Javon Evans was born post 2001. So he probably only saw at least one or two people on that looked like him that was on television. But now as he grew up and he got older, he saw more and more. So now it's like I can go for WWE at age 19 and make it and possibly be on NXT this early in his life. So it
go back to like, you know, we have to even give props to like the likes of Alicia Fox, because back in the 2011 to 2014 era, I'm really struggling actually to remember like any sort of representation within the Divas division.
Oh man, Jazz. Jacqueline. Like, I saw Jazz. I was so happy to see Jazz just at WWE World.
Yeah.
Because Jazz is somebody who was completely forgotten, who was one of Trish Stratus' biggest rivals. They talk about Lita, they talk about some of the other ladies of that era, but Jazz was fucking awesome. You know, Jackie, for many years, Jacqueline. Layla, who just completely, for some reason, forgot.
Very limited representation from a woman's point of view.
It was always like one at a time for us, it seemed, you know?
Yeah. So back between 2011 and 2015, that really is the era that I actually lost interest in. It again, a lot of people who follow our podcast would know that I really re-picked up like rewatching weekly wrestling from hearing about the 30 female Royal Rumble. And again, when I heard this, I was like, hold on. When I remember watching it like consistently, there was 3 women. Now there's 30.
Right.
I have to check this out. Do you know what I mean? And that is literally what got me back into wrestling and actually taking it seriously again and really getting into it again and tweeting and then eventually podcasting about it.
She met Oscar and she fell in love and they lived happily ever after.
Exactly. But
yeah, you got like Bull Nakano who just got the Hall of Fame. You know, you got Joshi's now. EO.
Again, if it wasn't for watching the Royal Rumble and then hearing the commentary and like the fan sort of like expression when Ember Moon and Oscar got in the ring, and then all of a sudden they started talking about this NXT rivalry that these two had, and I was like, hold on, because why does this feel like a big deal? Why is commentary talking about this rivalry being a big deal in NXT? Again, this is me only just getting back into wrestling. And so all of a sudden it's actually introducing me to NXT, because straight after Royal Rumble, say with Oscar winning, I went back and I watched the entire feud with Oscar becoming undefeated and the match and ending the match with Ember Moon. All of that then made me fall in love with NXT, you know, and it is a catch-on effect. But the thing is, these women weren't around when I lost interest. And it is a shame because the representation really wasn't there. Now, we really cannot argue. There is so much scope. There is so much excitement going into this year, into the future years of WWE with who they've signed and with the representation that they've got now. And it's not even in terms of just, you know, the color of the women's skin. It's their builds. It's their different representation, their different style of character, their different like wrestling styles. Everything. We've just got such a big opening right now.
It's also the roles. You're seeing women represented, you know, of color, but also in not necessarily commentator, but backstage interviewer, if you want to say it, you know, and even just seeing any woman like backstage doing the backstage interviewing and stuff, you know, when we were watching wrestling as kids, you wouldn't see any females backstage doing the interviewing unless it was like a special guest female wrestler doing it or something. So again, even other roles within the company, not necessarily just a wrestler. It was just really intriguing to see that.
Yeah, and they've done a good job across the board though. Like I saw people complaining that that when Jade kind of debuted, that it seems like, all right, well you got the strong black women, you got Bobby and the Street Profit, you have of course the Bloodline, Nelson Moore and Heritage, you have even though we have examples that's mixed like Judgment Day, we got Rhea and we got Priest, and then you have Dom, like that. That's a very but look at that group. That's complete. Everybody in there except basically Finn and JD, which they're both Irish. That's still
Irish.
not conventional, right?
Yeah.
Like it's just all across
Yeah.
the board. You got Legato, you got the LWO. Like we have it. We got
There's
representation all around. And I don't see a problem with that. Like, I saw some people trying to act like it is a problem, and I don't understand that. Like the fact that we have groups that can represent almost anything all around the board. Aussies, Kiwis,
Exactly.
like we can go all around the world right now.
And with those different groups, we get different strengths and different weaknesses, and I love to actually see that play out. Like now, it actually doesn't even feel like there's any sort of like especially if nowadays you go back and watch any WWE Attitude Era sort of things, you can't help but subliminally feel like, oh shit, it's whites versus blacks in some setup matches and stuff like that. And even if it wasn't meant to set up that way because of like how the Attitude Era was, if you watch it back now, there's like a distaste behind a lot of it, especially
it's a distaste towards foreigners. Like William Regal was the only British person on television for a long time.
But now
I even knew.
But like if you look like 20 25 years later, we're actually looking at a company that literally is just so stock full of talent that we're now just looking at strengths and weaknesses. We're not looking at people's skin color, we're not looking at people's gender, we're not looking at people's weight builds. There's not really discrimination within wrestling at the moment, and that is what I love about it. Everyone is able and free and allowed to embrace their own culture, their own religion, their own choices. Even when it comes down to the LGBTQ community, I love that they can feel represented within different companies of the wrestling business now. Special shout out to the likes of Sonia Deville, who openly wears that pride flag, and I'm glad that she is able to actually feel like she can do that now, because if back in the day you would not have been able to have felt like you could openly like show your pride. Even shout out to Nyla Rose on AEW for being able to be given a place within the women's division, and just being given being given the choice to choose who you want to be. So it's like wrestling is forever changing, and I am so grateful to see how where we've come to so far. Is only up from here. Let's hope so. Anyway, we've got a lot of controversies and negativity that is surrounding a lot of the wrestling business, but that doesn't need to be seen as a negativity. That needs to be seen as like what we're now seeing as a strength of fighting back, of actually killing any sort of the corruption and the negativity that surrounds the behind the scenes of wrestling. And hopefully that the only way is up. So let's end this whole discussion on that. I think I've rambled on way too long.
Did James fall asleep? Did you fall asleep, James?
Sorry, James, wake up.
No, I literally put on mute and then dropped my mouse. That is just so me. After a moment like that, just
just ruined my my nice speech without giving me.
I didn't like it. I'm a racist, you see, so I got up and ignored it.
Right.
That's what. No, but in all.
No, we didn't talk about Drew being Scottish enough.
Yeah, that's why he was so quiet. Right?
I was just out of the room. I was just like, no, I've got no. But in all seriousness, if I do get any emails or anything like that, whatever the last 15 minutes were, people weren't interested or didn't like it, then you can fuck off, you know.
Tell
'cause
them meet me
like I said,
somewhere.
this is the whole
Yeah,
point.
let's go.
No, but literally, like we've
Let-
never
let-
had that
let's
conversation.
fight.
Like even as a team, you know, it's like, and it's weird. Like when we talk about it, and I bet you all three as well. When I was singing Ken 2 hours ago, you didn't think it was going to get here, did you? But we did. See, this is what the magic of the WNR really is. So we move on then to WWE Kickoff XL. And Michael Cole will be busy this weekend with Pat McAfee and Triple H saying we are starting a new era. Cole and Pat want this to be the Triple H era. I mean, Gene, if you were thinking names for eras, what would you call the one we're in right now? The Trips era, the Paul era, the Vec?
God, that's actually difficult. I don't know. I want to say maybe Levesque era, but
Vec
I don't know.
era.
Everybody will have their own views on whose era it's going to be.
The Nightmare era. Oh, no, that's not too good, is it? Who knows? We get Ripley Lynch, and Becky said this would be an upset. So she's telling everybody that, you know, she's not expected to win. But anyway, she tells Ripley to enjoy her last 24 hours. We get Sami Zayn and Gunther, with Zayn promising to get the win. Well, he's promised now. Jimmy and Jay. Jay said he would beat his little and bigger brother, all short and sweet. We get Punk in a suit, which, again, Monty, when you think about what Punk was saying like 10 years ago, it's crazy to think that he's in a suit right now, ready for like the Hall of Fame. I don't know.
Bro, like I noticed in his interview, he didn't have piercings anymore, and I was like, "Wow, that's a lot different than the Punk I grew
Corporate
up
Punk.
watching."
I'm literally in the background is Punk in another suit on the kickoff show.
Yeah, on the kickoff show,
having the time of his fucking life. Yeah, it's great to see Big E as well. We'll say that. Anyway, back to the kickoff, and we get Seth and Drew again, the forgotten man. Punk is overshadowing a match already getting overshadowed, and Jaxie, this match between Seth and Drew, like again, Bloodline's more important, Punk's more important. Like I actually feel sorry for Drew, and I know I'm a diehard Drew fan.
I mean, like, again, I think from what I discussed about what took place on Raw, I really kind of listened to what Drew was saying when he was like, you know, Seth, you're really not taking this seriously. The fans don't take this seriously, but like, I am coming for you, and you don't even realize, like, you know, the type of man I've become. And I could see his patience wearing thin. And I'm kind of all here for it at this point. Again, this has got absolutely nothing to do with you and your like unconventional obsession.
Unhealthy obsession is what the doctor calls it.
But again, this promo with Drew really did win me over in the sense of actually really kind of thinking like, actually everyone's kind of like wanting to like boo Drew on kind of like the way he's coming across and stuff. But we're kind of right here. Like Seth really is like so totally focused on this whole like bloodline feud that he really actually isn't really a part of. He really isn't a part of. But you're so focused on that, you've really not paid attention. And I think you actually need to realize, like, this is a different Drew. You know, this is a more aggressive Drew who knows what he wants and he's ready to come for it. So
he's ready to
yeah,
come.
I definitely think that Seth has a lot to actually realize. That he's not. I think he's definitely underestimated what's to come for night 2.
Yeah. We'll move on to the Hall of Fame, and we got a countdown to the Hall of Fame, which annoyingly wasn't on the network. So I started watching the Hall of Fame and thought, hang on a minute, there's another 25-minute program on YouTube. Yay. Pete Rosenberg with Kayla Braxton. We see Trish interviewed, and when she mentioned WrestleMania 20, and I thought, fuck it, that's like 20 years ago now. Like, what the fuck? Like, Trish looks incredible. I take everything back. Like, literally, if that was the case at WrestleMania 20, that's like Moolah and Mae Young. Like, we wrestled 20 years ago. Like, I just can't. Unbelievable. Yeah. And we mentioned Punk. We see Punk with Keith Lee in the background. And we didn't know he re-signed. We didn't know Keith Lee was back in the WWE. But
Wait,
he is.
can I just
I hope you don't get in trouble.
know, did anyone actually know he left AEW? Or is that just me?
He's still there. Don't listen to James. He was with his wife. That's all it is, man. He got caught when he wasn't supposed to be. That's all it was.
Oh, okay. So he was there really for me, Jim, but like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Fine, sure, okay.
But again, we haven't seen him in so long because, you know, when you're out of sight, you really are out of sight over there in AEW. That people might believe he's back in the fold.
You say that though, we did get a Nikki Cross sighting, and she talked. So again, I was like, hang on a minute, like Nikki Cross
she can
talking.
talk.
This is not normal. Like she was probably going, "Hey, I fucking see that, you cunt! The fire!" That was unbelievable. And again, Jaxie, not to piss you off, but Charlotte looked incredible. She actually did.
Andrade,
I don't know if she's had honk honk or whatever it is, but I mean a wooga. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean,
I respect women and all that lot, but
I
Down
must
boy.
admit, not had the chance to watch Hall of Fame, so I've not seen this. However, I do actually want to give a shout out because I follow Andrade on Instagram, and he did a shout out birthday post to Charlotte recently, and there's some outfits that she was wearing that I have to say she looked really great in. So a happy belated birthday, Charlotte. I'm not that much of a hater that I can't wish you happy birthday. You look great.
By the way, she's running.
Be the biggest person.
She's running in videos. Like, she's healing very fast.
Oh, nice. Well,
It's
you know, it's gonna be nice to see her back in the mix because
off.
we've got
you're lying.
position and like, you know, like the type of women we've got. Do you know what a dream match right now is? Jade and Charlotte. I actually
with Charlotte winning. What about if Charlotte wins?
Definitely win. Tap her out.
Yeah, what about if Charlotte beats Jade? Woo! What would you say then?
15 times. Woo!
Exactly.
Both of you two are hyping that win up way too much, and we don't know that Jade could actually whoop her ass. Yeah, and I actually believe.
Yeah, the third time. After she lose twice, she might get the last time.
Shut up, Monty. All right, but if that ever actually did happen, I will express my disappointment as deeply as I probably expressed the disappointment I felt at Asuka losing to Charlotte at WrestleMania.
Right,
and
I'm
biased. Yep. I'm biased. I just think that she doesn't always need to win. So we all know she's talented. Let others win. End of.
Oh, but a great Charlotte coming back though. yeah. All right, we'll move on. I'll come to you in a second. Don't worry about that. Anyway, Jackie Redmond and Corey Graves hosting the Hall of Fame. We start with Paul Heyman. Now, Gina, what are your thoughts on Paul Heyman? Because they might actually be different to kind of either mine or Monty. So, what are your thoughts, Paul Heyman, going into the Hall of Fame? You know,
I think he deserves it. I mean, I think I kind of thought he was in the Hall of Fame already. So when it was announced, I thought he already was. But I mean, I think he deserves it. He's done a lot in WWE, CW, any other wrestling scene that he's had a hand in, you know, and he's great at being his character that he is on TV. He's really made a character for himself, and so many people have just grown with him, you know. So I think it's great that he's being inducted in the Hall of Fame, and I thought his speech was brilliant.
Yeah, we wrapped out. We'll talk about speech a bit, but again, it's weird because again, he's been a manager for so long. Like, I actually kind of so old that I remember him being owner of ECW, you know. So like, to even when he came over and thinking, oh, it'll never work, you know, and then kind of being there, it is like an incredible journey, really. Especially the people, even with Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
I mean, Jackson, like the reinvention of kind of Roman Reigns under Paul Heyman was vital, really, wasn't it? You know.
Yeah. I mean, like, it really reinvigorated like the importance of what Roman Reigns brings to the company, you know. Like, he's just only ever been an asset since he joined up with the tribal chief, with the bloodline. And yeah, you can't fault him. Again, I kind of feel like I knew he wasn't part of the Hall of Fame, but it still came as a shock when the announcement came. I was kind of like, he should have already been in the Hall of Fame. So this is well deserved, and I was really pleased to see that he was getting that honor this year.
Well, we started with Heyman, and I understand why, just in case it runs long, and finish with The Rock. But it is truly incredible. Well done, Paul. It's everybody does kind of want to be a wrestler's dream. You know, it's like mine. I could never be a professional wrestler, but I could be Paul Heyman. Do you know what I mean? It's like, even back the days with managers like Jim Cornette or someone like that, it's like the way he got into it at 15, just like asking questions and being backstage, talking with like classy Freddie Blassie and stuff like this. It is incredible. But just talk about his speech at the moment, because Roman had a nice speech calling Heyman the best communicator in wrestling. Well, he is now, if you know what I mean. He even declared that he would no longer be the tribal chief when he was out the wise man. Monty, I'm glad Tommy Dreamer didn't bring a gun.
Yeah. Paul hugged him, and I was like, "Oh man, I hope he didn't sneak a knife."
Jaxie and Gina, if you don't know the story, Tommy Dreamer did once say, I think he was going to come to Raw, and he would blow Paul Heyman's brains out, and then he's
going to kill him.
Yeah, this is about 10 years ago, 15 years ago.
Well, yeah. Well, I think it was winning about old money. Like, he lied to him.
Was this on ECW?
No.
This is real life. This is Tommy
this
said.
This is real life. like Tommy really was mad at him.
Thank you, Tommy, for not bringing a gun to the Hall of Fame.
I bet they had to fucking check him though.
I think Paul was patting him when he hugged him. Like, you ain't got that on you, huh?
Sweating as soon as he saw Tommy Dreamer in the fucking stands, he was like, "Fuck!" Like, is he packing or what?
He sprints to the ring.
Heyman wearing a fucking under a suit, you know that.
RVD and Bubba got hugs as well. His hug with Roman brought tears to my eyes. It really was like a touching moment between the two. You deserve it, Chance, with Paul Heyman saying, "You damn fucking right, I deserve it." Again, mate, only Paul Heyman could say shit like this, you know. He talked up his friend RVD, and man, that smoking, it had me in stitches as well. His son and daughter nearby, and CM Punk foreturns Triple H's leadership. Steph McMahon with a callback with the alliance with the ECW cap, and Heyman saying he's a Paul Levesque guy. And again, this could be a little bit self-indulgent, whether it is, but fuck them. They've got to this point. Do you know what I mean? Like, fair play to them. It's what I think even with Heyman, like, all that shit, and now they're the two most... Heyman is the second most powerful man, probably creative, in WWE. Mm-hmm. And Stephanie, emotional as well, it was great. And Heyman saying, any trouble, though, don't worry, Haku is just there. Again, really, really good. We got ECW Paul, where he put on his attire. And again, I didn't watch it live, so I don't know what... He had a whole sentence bleeped out. And it basically was...
I know what he said.
If you think ECW died in 2001, you can suck my fucking dick. Not every Hall of Fame speech has this, Monty. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. He said it, and like the reaction, I know Randy was having a time of his life back there. Cody looked right at Triple H. You could tell he kind of like, can we say that? Like, it was great. Oh, man. Like, yeah, it was raw, unfiltered. But if you know anything about Paul's origin, you know anything about ECW, that's exactly what that version of Paul was all about. He was honest, unfiltered. There was no filters in ECW, man.
Well, we did get a Brock Lesnar shout out as well.
He even said his name,
yeah. I was going to do it then, but I realised he promised to continue to disrupt this business for years. Yeah. To come ending with a classic line. That's not a prediction. That's a spoiler. I mean, Monty, this was just like, I would say personally for me, like, the Scott Hall, the ending of his speech, but with Heyman, the 40 minutes just flew by, you know?
Yeah, I was about to say, like, Hall's was short, but it was, like, perfectly, and it summed up everything. It summed him up perfectly if you knew anything about his story. But like you mentioned, I've heard a big chunk of them. Some of them, sometimes they can get long-winded. Sometimes you feel like some people, could have had more to say. I know, we've had the Hall of Fame is always great, because of this. But Paul's, like you said, maybe it's a little recency bias, but man, it's definitely the one of, if not the greatest Hall of Fame speech ever. Like, it was just pure. It was straight honest. And like you mentioned, I may have a little different point of view. I've been able to go back and watch him as Paul Lee Dangerously in the old WCW days as a manager, the Dangerous Alliance. You remember that? Are you old? I'm young.
Well,
You're
no, I
old enough to
wasn't.
remember the Dangerous
No,
Alliance, right?
I literally. No. I started, like I said, January '99 was WWF.
Oh,
and
okay,
then
yeah, no, that's way
WCW
past it.
was a little
Got
bit. I mean, I still, fuck you.
But yeah, my point is, is that he managed Stunning Steve Austin, and we wouldn't have a Stone Cold Steve Austin if it wasn't for Paul, calling Steve and getting him to ECW, opening up that shell, basically making what he would later become. Like Paul has his hands in a lot of, just talents over the years. A lot of people owe what they became to Paul, and the fact that a lot of the talent that I see, current talent, talking about how much help he has been backstage for them in this era. So again, Paul's influence can be felt. He mentioned it, like I don't know if you said this, but he said it's not a promotion on this world that don't have the spirit of ECW in it, and that's 100% right. We see Darby Allin about to kill himself. That's ECW. That happened all the time in the ECW days. We see Darby doing the crazy spots or stuff in AEW. The energy, the chants, that loyalty to a promotion, that was all ECW, man. So, and Attitude Era, like it all has been stated. And Paul was a big part of that. He was the main motivator. Had a lot of those guys at ECW working for not much and doing crazy stuff because he was just that good at motivating, that good at talking. I know, like Roman said, communicating. And you mentioned Roman. I watched Roman's doc. Paul is a big part of what he has become with the Tribal Chief. Paul has been in his family. Like, that's not storyline. Paul has definitely been a part of his family in a way when it comes to managing or just in the business for a long time, before Roman was even born. So, yeah, man, it was great to see them embrace, and just, again, for Paul to get his flowers. I think that's the one thing about the Hall of Fame. You just want a lot of those greats to kind of get their flowers and their recognition before, because we lose a lot of we talk about it every other pod almost, unfortunately, James, how many people in our wrestling community as wrestlers or performers that we lose all the time. So it's just awesome to kind of have Paul to be able to give that speech and be honest and just be who he is. And you just saw how much he meant to a whole bunch of people there with this moment. And also, I know we're not really talking about the old man. I felt a lot of what maybe Paul may have already been in if it wasn't maybe some resentment between him and the old man, because a little bit of what Paul was saying to me felt like a little bit of, I'm happy Levesque is in this position, and kind of like, screw the old man. Now that could have just been me looking into something he said. I saw online some people kind of got those vibes also. So yeah, I mean, Paul's great, and I think, like you mentioned, for him to be in the position he is in the company, to come so long, like, I could go on forever. There's a million stories. Paul is a liar. Paul is this. Paul is that. A lot of people didn't like Paul, but for him to be where he is now, to be so respected, is awesome, man. Go ahead.
Well, no, I'm about to say no. So, but one of my favorite Paul Heyman stories, and again, like you said, you could do a whole podcast about it. One of my favorites is one that Bubba Ray says about the money, because obviously the checks were bouncing in ECW at the time, and he said he said that Heyman, he rang Heyman. He said, "Heyman, have you sent my check?" He go, "I've sent your check." And he go, "Have you sent it? FedEx. Have you got a tracking number?" He said, "Yes." So he lists out these numbers, and Bubba says, FedEx, you give me 8 numbers. FedEx is 9. So he just added another number. Like, literally, that
just a random number.
Just a random number, just made up numbers. He knew he was for the shit, but people, like I said, still did stuff for us. It was really, really
awesome,
good.
Man.
And again, the argument is whether it should have started or whether it should have finished the show. We're going to find out, like we talk about with the Hall of Fame. Afterwards, we get another fantastic video package, of course, about Bull Nakano, and then we see Blaze talking about Bull Nakano as a revolution and cutting-edge performer, continues to influence wrestlers to this day. Felt a bit long, not going to lie, the intro. Nakano came out looking glamorous and far removed from the terrifying persona that defined her wrestling career. Well, she never admitted she'd been fully comfortable with English. She cut a passionate promo, but it wasn't meant to be here with so many friends and supporters to her career. Now, Jackson, I'll ask you, because, Bull Nakano is someone, we've talked about this a little bit with Trailblazers, and it seems that every talent nowadays, and even the last maybe generation, were influenced by Bull Nakano, and it just shows you, maybe she's only in the WF for about a year, her influence on the wrestling world kind of 30 years later.
Yeah, I mean, again, I haven't yet watched the Hall of Fame, so I really can speak on what was said. But I obviously know of her and the influence that she had. However little time she held within the WWE, it held much influence as to what has shaped the wrestlers and the company and the way things are run today. So I was very pleased to see that she was getting recognition for that.
Yeah, I think without doubt. Up next, excuse me, we got a video package from Muhammad Ali. Obviously, how much his character was inspired by and further inspired professional wrestling. Then sold and influenced in all sports, not just WWE. I don't know how worried Muhammad Ali's wife, Lonnie, was when she went out to accept the award and saw an Undertaker. You really shouldn't be doing stuff when someone's a certain age. But anyway, she thanked everyone for honouring her husband and said the fans for the reason that he was the People's Champ. She then called out The Rock to honour him with the People's Championship. We'll then get Taylor and Micah Rotunda talking about their dad and uncle. They ran over the team's legacy and style as well and thanking them for being a great family men. Mike Rotunda took the lead for his team. We'll talk about the history of professional wrestling. Barry Windham added fun anecdotes along the way. And they closed up for honouring Windham Rotunda. Of course, Bray Wyatt lifting the phones as Shatter played. The entire arena was engulfed by fireflies. Gene, this was a nice tribute to Bray. Again, we're probably going to get Bray going in maybe next year, but to see, his uncle and his dad going as well was a nice moment, seeing as they both competed at WrestleMania 1 as well.
Yeah, I mean, again, as my sister said, I haven't seen the Hall of Fame, but reading about that moment, I can imagine how emotional it was, and it still feels. I feel like a lot of wrestling fans are going to resonate with this, but it still feels like it's just happened with Bray. It just feels so rotten to have lost someone so brilliant. And so unexpected for us. I'm not sure if it was unexpected for them or not, but regardless, I still feel for Bray and his family, and I can imagine it was such a beautiful ceremony.
There was one moment as well, Monty, with Bo Dallas there, saying that Bray should be here with them, inducting their kind of dad. And again, it's like, but with the crowd as well, there was a slight issue after the Heyman thing as well, weren't there?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it was just like you mentioned, we've been to a couple of the presentations, but just the fans, a big chunk of the fans, from what I've read about, a lot of them left, and you just had like I said, a lot of things where it just didn't make sense to me. The Rock accepting the People's Championship belt, like you mentioned, and still getting booed as if I understand he's the final boss. I'm not saying you can't, kind of get some of that out. It is WrestleMania weekend. I get it, but it's just, to me, this is a ceremony. You can't separate the two. Like it's heels and baby faces literally sitting in the same. Like AJ and LA Knight are both in that room, and I know they fought at their WWE World media appearance, which was awesome, by the way. LA Knight and AJ fighting there, but they didn't fight at the ceremony because this is separated from what you're seeing in storyline. So just to have them doing that, or maybe some what chance doing Tam's. Not Tam. I'm calling her Tam Nakano, which someone who obviously is inspired by Bull. But anyway, Bull Nakano. To have the what chance, which is always disrespectful to me when someone who is not, their first language is not English, and we get what chance. I don't care. I've always hated that. But to hear some of that, to just see general disrespect for a ceremony that I understand is a long process. And that's why I say, instead of just blaming it all on the fans who may be tired because it's a long day, WrestleMania week takes a lot out of you, and you're sitting through SmackDown, and then you have to sit through a ceremony that can sometimes go long, like the Hall of Fame. I get it, because it was like midnight on the East Coast over here. So I get it. You can get restless, but that's why I think the format itself should change. Because for everyone to get their proper respect, I would like it to go back to those, those kind of like closed event type style that they used to do.
But even then, with Hillbilly Jim, like there's got to be like music or something.
Oh, definitely. They have to concise it. Do you know what I mean? They have to make it concise. Because Hillbilly Jim, I remember that notoriously went on forever.
That live, and I think I aged 20 years.
Yeah. So yes, you have to concise it. And I'm not trying to say that, but I'm just saying so everyone could get the proper respect. I mean, Wyndham and Barry Wyndham and Mike was having a pretty tough time towards the end there because you could see Mike kind of getting emotional, even thinking about bringing up Bray, and to kind of have people, I get it, it's fine, but to still have people chanting stuff and saying stuff, not necessarily helping the situation, in my opinion. It's just like I said, just something that I don't really like when I'm watching these things, because I'm really into what all of these legends, even if I don't know much about them. I know I saw some people complaining about Thunderbolts. Thunderbolt did go long. He was preaching. But I was into it because I don't know much about Thunderbolt Patterson. So it was good to kind of just get that perspective.
But again, it's...
Exactly.
Again, I could make a joke about not knowing where the fuck he was, but he really didn't know where he was. But... this is the thing, isn't it? Like when you've got people like that, to have the attraction first, as in Heyman, then people have lost interest, really, haven't they? There's nothing else there was no, again, this Hall of Fame class, there was no real, like, big, I know Heyman but do you know what I mean? Like,
I get what you're saying, but I don't buy it, to be honest, though. Like, it's just have all you gotta do is sit there and listen, bro. That's the only thing I'm saying.
But
like,
it's not
the
like
proper
that,
respect.
like, crowd trying to get himself over and all this stuff.
Anyway, and that's my point. Like, this ain't the show. Like, get yourself over during the show.
Well, New Day had some fun celebrating the return of Big E at their side, as like you said, Thunderbolt Patterson. It was a strong introduction. W showed an epic video package that allowed new and familiar fans to hear Patterson's charisma through clips of his injected promos. Once Patterson took over, his charisma still shined through. He had the arena echoing "Amen" to his speech, and for the final induction of the night, video package focused on Liam Ivy's legacy. I have watched Young Rock, so I have seen it recently. And again, I remember people saying Macho Man was a little bit egotistical to kind of want his dad in the Hall of Fame, unless he would go in. That was the rumours and stories anyway. And it's weird that Rock's taken over and his grandma's got in. Not worthwhile, as we saw, because of course the family legacy. And then, of course, The Rock had to mention Cody Rhodes and they had a little face-off. But again, the crowd weren't sure, as kind of The Rock maybe switching between the two characters as well. I mean, Monty, what were your thoughts on this? Like I said, the ceremony as a whole.
Yeah, like, I liked it. I'm with you, though. Like, it did go long. Like I said, a format change or at least something to kind of streamline things to make it easier for on the fans and just everybody involved. Like you mentioned, same thing with the legends, make, 15-minute time limit, 10-minute, however you want to splice things up. Even though, again, I can understand it from a certain point of view. Like, I'm in the Hall of Fame too. Paul got to go 40. Yeah, I may not be as known as Paul Heyman is to this group, but I'm a legend in my own right also. So I can understand the perspective from each side. But again, I thought it was enjoyable. I love these moments because you kind of get a chance to know. If you don't know them, you get a chance to know, wrestlers from an era that you don't know much about. But also, if you do know them, you get to hear perspective. Somebody like Bull Nakano, like they cut out the entire women's division just because she was that much ahead of her time, in my opinion. They told her not to wrestle that way, which was basically the way women wrestle now. So, yeah, Bull Nakano is a legend. So it was awesome to see her. It was awesome to get that moment. Even for, I understand, like, they're right. You're right. It's definitely a little bit of, like, family thing with The Rock. But, like, they're not wrong. A woman being a promoter at that time and having the power that she had at that time, I could understand that being there. So it was cool to kind of learn things. I think that's what I love the most about it, is to learn things. But I do think after SmackDown or something, maybe they need to clear out the schedule, do it on a Thursday before SmackDown or something. You know what I mean? Maybe they need to do something like that. But other than that, I thought it was enjoyable.
Yeah, I'll have it in the stand and deliver position. and then they even have standing delivery
Yeah,
Sunday morning or
or
have
something
it
like
on
that. Yeah.
Thursday night, because there's nothing on Thursday, is there? You could have that.
Right, it's nothing on Thursday, so like cancel some of those fan events that you do in the evening or whatever, and just do the Hall of Fame that night. I mean, that's the way I would think about doing it. But hey, who knows? But I thought it was fun either way, and it was always great to see legends get their due, like I said, while they're here. And again, I'm a biggest Muhammad Ali fan there is. So you don't even really. I know for a fact it wouldn't be promos. If it was anybody shooting promos who was boxing, it was Ali.
Right, I don't. Like I said, we are getting close to WrestleMania now. I think we're about like an hour and 10 minutes away or something like that. So we've got one thing left to do here. It's been a great show, but it's one thing, and I don't know about you, Gina, but like I don't think I've struggled so much with predictions ever. Especially with WrestleMania. Have you got a special plan for it?
No, I'm literally winging it. Trust me, this WrestleMania is proving really difficult for predictions, and I'll explain more when we go along and give our predictions as to why I found it so difficult. But not only the fact that there's so many matches to predict, and we also have to kind of wait for some match results on the first night to be able to predict the next night, sort of thing, or at least that's how I am seeing it. But it's just
Don't
proving
confuse me.
difficult.
I still don't know.
I'm
Yeah.
winging it. I'm winging it, James. That's it.
Oh right, that's your plan. That's good. It's a good plan. Jaxie, have you got? I mean, again, I'm even as we talk now, like there's still maybe one I'm not sure about on night one. We're going to do night ones, but this is tough. This shit's got real. This WrestleMania.
Yeah, I think there's so much excitement going into this WrestleMania, this 2-night event. But with that comes the nerves of trying to predict, and then also kind of them being able to predict like night one from night two. So I'm kind of nervous for this one myself.
I don't know where. I think we'll start with Monty with the first prediction because he's in the lead at this moment in time. But I don't know what match to kind of start with, even because again we're all going to have different theories about everything. So we'll start off then with Andrade and Rey Mysterio versus Santos Escobar and Dominic Mysterio. Monty, I'll go with you to start off then. We'll see how it goes. Come on, there we go.
Yeah, I mean, this is actually another one that you mentioned. You guys talk about how tough it is. Like this can go either way. You can make a case for either side that would be compelling to me, especially since Ray and Dom kind of did their thing in the singles match already, and Dom took the loss. So when my thought process going into this, and I saw Dom was added to it, I was like, oh, okay, well, Dom might be able to get his victory back. But then they threw the Dragon Lee thing in there, and I was like, oh, maybe they want to showcase him. Then just yesterday, they throw Andrade in. And it was just like, okay, now it's even tougher. And it's like, what way do we see this going? Carlito was making some interesting faces. So I'm just like, is he going to screw Ray? Ray going to get screwed again by another partner? Or is this just going to be a fun showcase, another time for Dom to get his butt whooped by his dad? And so it's tough. It's really, really a tough one. I'm gonna go with my gut. I'm gonna go with my initial thought process that Dom and Santos finds a way to pull it off. I wouldn't be surprised if it go the other way. I'm thinking some type of shenanigans will happen. But if it just end up being a fun, ass whooping for Dom and Santos, that's fine with me. But I think Dom and Santos is probably gonna find a way to get revenge for Dom's loss, and Santos can get a victory too. But I don't know. I could be wrong. This might be Andrade's time.
Jaxie?
I have a lot of the same thoughts as Monty going into this match, but I've gone with Andrade and Ray for the win. I think Andrade joining the team has actually made me switch sides. I originally did have sort of Dom picking up the win with Santos here. And that's no offense to Dragon Lee, but I did actually kind of see him being the only one that would be legitimate to take the pin right now. But yeah, at this point with Andrade joining the mix, I'm not sure whether or not they would actually give him the loss straight off of him returning. So I've gone with Andrade and Ray on this one.
Gina?
Yeah, just as Monty and Jaxie said, the change up in the team. I kind of feel sorry for Dragon Lee if he's not legitimately injured and they're just like, oh yeah, we're going to give you a spot in WrestleMania, but it's going to be taken away. So like, I do kind of feel for him in that sense if he's not actually injured. But ultimately, I'm going to go Ray and Andrade.
Again, for me, with Andrade joining, it is now a bit lopsided in the faces because you've got Dragon Lee, you've got Mysterio, you've got Andrade, you've got Carlito and Santos. You know, he's had to kind of get Dom in. So I think, yeah, maybe we're going to see Carlito showing his true colours. And Dom, I've got it wrong last year. It still pisses me off. I thought Dom would win. I'm pretty sure this year he will get the victory. And if I make a prediction, next year, Ray, Dom, career on the line or some bullshit, all right?
Right. Mass
WrestleMania's
career or
tradition.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be saying.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm going for. I've never been so tense doing prediction. I'm meant to be hosting, and I'm just like, oh my god. So yeah, I think that's fair to say. All right. So up next, Jay Cargill, Bianca Belair, and Naomi versus Damage Control. Gina, I'll go to you.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the faces here. I'm going to go Jade, Naomi, and Bianca, just because they're not going to put Jade into a WrestleMania match and have her lose when it's going to be her first match. And the way that she's been introduced so epically that they would fumble if she did kind of get a loss here. Especially because Naomi's only just returned as well. I feel like she needs to pick up a nice big win, so a big win at WrestleMania will help. And Bianca's obviously an all-time favorite, so again, I think that they'll get the win here.
Yeah, this is kind of one of the easy ones, hopefully, isn't it? You know, I mean, Jaxie, what have you gone for?
I've gone for the same. I've gone for Bianca, Jade, and Naomi. I mean, not only is like this just such a strong team up, I love to see like those three teaming off against Dakota, Oscar, and Kyrie. I just think that this is a dream team up. But this is Jade's showcase. Like they gotta have her win this. They can't have her lose. I see her picking up the pin here. So yeah, I've gone with them to win.
Monty?
Yeah, I almost wish you started with this one. This is a lot easier, even than
I know.
even
Sorry,
than the race story.
Yeah, no, my bad.
But it's fine. It's okay. Yeah, man, I'm with you. Like Jay, definitely, that's the biggest point. But also, I just feel like Bianca also won't lose her streak. You know, she is low key one of those things that's going on that she's undefeated and she's trying to keep her streak at WrestleMania. Just keep it going. So I think at some point down the line, I don't know when, it could be this year, next year, because the streak we don't know. We know how these things can go when it comes to streaks at WrestleMania. But I think Bianca at one point will probably have to put her streak on the line against a champion of some sort. And I think that'll be probably next year or the year after, maybe even Rhea. They'll probably do that Rhea match and do it that way. Streak versus Rhea or whatever, if Rhea is still champion or can become champion again by then. So, yeah, I'm going with the faces though. Yeah, man. I don't see that happening. Unfortunately, Oscar's on the opposite end of that streak, and she's gonna lose again. It seems at WrestleMania.
There was one, I think, incredible fact. I read. I don't want to ruin a future script, but I think the last Japanese wrestler to win at WrestleMania was Taka Michinoku. How crazy is that when you think about Oscar and Nakamura and anybody else that could have been?
Tajiri.
I mean, Akabono, does he count? Does he count?
Yeah, mate. Yeah. What about Akabono?
You know, what about Akabono? So yeah, no, Cargill there. Yeah, I mean, this is easy. Bianca Belair streak, Cargill, easy. Nice. Up next, Jackson, you got a tough one. Jey Uso versus Jimmy Uso. Go
on. Okay. So I'm going Jey Uso on this one because he really needs to get one over, not only on his twin, but his other brother, his cousin, and everyone who's really doubted him over the past year. He's just continuously had every single one of his peak matches thwarted by his brother. So I've gone on this premise that we're going to get like a real feel-good moment and actually get Jey Uso picking up the win against Jimmy.
Gina?
Yeah, again, I'm in agreement here. I feel like Jay's gonna pick this win up because he's just been brought down by his brother a lot, and he really needs to get this win. So yeah, Jay.
Monty, I'll let you go, but what have you gone for?
Well, no, you want me to give mine first because I'm still. This is actually tough. I'm still like jumping, like as they talk. I'm jumping. Because it's like.
Can I just say?
Go ahead.
But not to maybe one way or the other, but again, Jay needs the win. But WrestleMania 10, Brett versus Owen.
There we go. You thinking way I'm
Owen
thinking.
wins. WrestleMania
Jeff
25,
and Matt.
Jeff and Matt. Matt wins. Jimmy Jay.
The less popular brother always wins.
Yeah, because he needs the victory because Jay doesn't really lose anything, and Jimmy then becomes on a bit more on Jay's level by having that win. Monty, let me. I'll say it's down to you. I mean,
no, man, no, I'm with you, and I'm with you because history says that's what's gonna happen. But it's just like, do we like? At the same time, they're not wrong that Jay should finally get one up. And I remember being very, very mad that Jeff didn't beat Matt. So part of me is that kid in me from back in the WrestleMania 25 is like, you know what, no way I'm picking against Jay. But, oh, man, like history, bro. And I feel like Jim definitely needs it. But now it's like my thought process, too, is like, what is most likely to end? How can we get them to make up after? I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but I'm saying who losing could make Jimmy and Jay get back, or at least get back cordial so Jimmy can leave Jay alone. And part of me is like, well, Jay winning would do that, but then also you can make the case that Jim can do that, and they would do that. So it's really, really tough. It's really a tough one. I'm gonna go with history. I'm gonna go and say Jim wins. I wouldn't be surprised if Jay wins, and I'd be happy because I feel like that. But Jay is a made man. Jay is, and this is another thing that made me want to pick Jay, is because Jay hasn't won as much as you would think. But he's so popular and so over that it don't matter. And that's one reason why I'm like, then why not let him lose to Jim, who we know lose all the time, but he already feels less significant than his brother. I say Big Brother wins, just like when Matt did it, and Owen was the younger brother, but he was less popular. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Jim. I convinced myself, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
The only way that Jimmy and Jay can get back to any sort of kind of semblance if Jimmy realizes that he's been used like Jay was in that way.
Right.
So what
and I'm like, how can you realize that now?
Well, what about if there's no solo? There's no help. And Jimmy wonders why there's no help. And they go, well, no, we're ready for the main event, the big match. You don't really matter. You know, this is what Jay's been telling him all the time. Again, I have been heavily debating this match. And again, Monty, I credit you, sir, for taking that risk. But I've got to go Jay. Jay, like I said, that win. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, Jay, fuck it. I've gone Jay. I'm Jay.
Just do it, man.
I've done it. I've done it. Right. Up next. I don't know which ones. Which is toughest? Which is the toughest ones? Do you know what I mean? Like, which one? I'll take one now. Like, what's the toughest one? What, Gunther, Sami Zayn, or the tag team titles? What do you? What is harder, Monty? Do you reckon?
I said I actually believe the tag titles harder because you got more to choose.
All right, fuck it. I'll go tag titles then. No, I'll go tag titles. And Can we name all the teams I've got at the moment? Dun and Bate,
DIY. There you go.
DIY, Theory and Waller, Judgment Day,
Awesome Truth.
Awesome Truth,
New Day.
New Day. There we go. We named all the teams. We'll move on. No, so the pick for me, I've got to go with it because you always get a feel-good moment. And if I'm looking at Saturday night, not to ruin any other predictions that I'm going to make, but you always need a feel-good moment. And Jay's win over Jimmy will be a feel-good moment. But also you need kind of a title change. And you're not getting that many title matches. So I think new tag team champions will be a great moment. So who out of all these, I mean, DIY probably makes the most sense. But the most over in that match is our Truth. So, and Miz has got quite a good WrestleMania record. So I'm going to go Awesome Truth. But I wouldn't be surprised because they did say you need to take both sets of titles. So I reckon you could split. But again, I'm not going to make two predictions. That's stupid. So I'll go also, or even if it's like R-Truth and Finn Balor was tag team champion.
I thought that we were going to be doing two predictions. I actually have two. Because I believe that.
No, go on, what's your prediction then?
Should we include like two predictions, but still just 1 point each if you get both right? And then you could get 2 points if you just choose one, and they get both. Or never mind.
I mean, I don't have a it's completely up to like James on that one.
I don't know, Monty, what do you reckon?
I mean, I'm cool with doing two for if you pick one team and they get both, you get two, and if you do one each, it doesn't matter. It doesn't really make a difference to me. I was thinking about picking two, but it doesn't really. Yeah, it don't make that big difference to me.
I mean, yeah, I had two in mind with the idea of what if, but I obviously picked one overall. But I'm happy to like choose two as well.
Yeah, fuck it, we'll all pick two. I'll go DIY Awesome Truth. A lot easier. Gina?
Yeah, I had the exact same theories as you. I feel like DIY and Truth pretty much have started 2024. And so I feel like they're both going to get each set, and that's what's going to drive Judgment Day even more mad at the fact that the belts have been split up rather than taken by one team.
Monty?
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't go. I'm surprised you didn't. Was it the stupid name that made you pick against Bate and Dunn?
Yes, fuck them. And if it comes back to haunt me, you know I've not called them that all pod.
I got no faith that they're going to just push those two. I really don't.
Well, for some reason, in my dumb brain, I couldn't. But Triple H just said, I think on Logan Paul show there's a draft coming up, so now I feel even stupider about it. But I was thinking one SmackDown team, one Raw team this whole time. So I'm like, but you know, because I don't. Now that I know it really won't matter. Definitely Awesome Truth though. Awesome Truth definitely is one of my team. But they kept throwing that tidbit about the New Day never winning at WrestleMania as a team, and I'm just like, they don't need it. I think we all know they don't need it, but it's just like, would they do that just to give them an achievement and all of that? And then I was like, Theory and Waller, heels, surprise. You know, if you need a heel team to win it, but like they've been like afterthought there in Logan Paul's situation, and watch those bastards win it. Anyway, I'm going with Awesome Truth and DIY. I'm the same way. Those are two teams that I was thinking, especially since the new logo. Like, I don't know if you've seen it, but DIY literally got like a DX type shirt.
Yeah, I know. I've just seen that. And I was just like, DIY is my pick.
Oh Lord,
you don't get new merch gear if you don't. Right. Yeah, if you don't get that.
Right. Yeah.
Jaxie?
I'm a little bit nervous about my choices now.
You've not gone Theory, Waller, and Dunn and Bate.
No, but I had like Judgment Day and New Catch Republic. Like, so that Judgment Day would retain one set of belts, but then like New Catch Republic would take the other. And now I just feel like I'm making a major gamble. Why do I feel like I'm making a major gamble? Like,
Monty
because it is, man.
Shit.
Gamble. Yes. Good luck.
By the way,
Fuck.
this match could be awesome or it could be a miss. 12 people, James?
Yeah, I mean, this
It's gonna be a lot of setting up of ladders and laying around at ringside. Can't wait.
Yes.
It's gonna be. Anyway, move on. Next match, Intercontinental Championship: Gunther versus Sami Zayn. And Monty, it's your turn.
Ah, man, you're making me go first on this. ah. Well, since I went with Jim, now I feel like I need a feel good moment other than R-Truth for me, like you mentioned earlier. But man, I don't know if this is the outcome I want for the Intercontinental title, but I don't think it matters what I thought or what I wanted. He's going with the Rocky theme and all of that, and it's just, man, the underdogs, man. Philadelphia love an underdog. But you said Rocky 3, and I'm glad you chose that one because I'm saying, what if it's like the first Rocky and he lose? Right, yeah, he can definitely still lose. Give a good fight and lose in the end. Will Gable appear? Will Gable cost him? That's another angle we can go with. Like it's a lot of ways to go with this one. But I the way I chose it out, my show would be way too heel heavy, other than the tag match. So I'm gonna say Sammy's gonna pull it off, whether I believe him to do it or not. Because honestly, it's just like picking against Roman. Can you really see anybody pinning Gunther the way they don't make that much? Especially when you don't think it's the perfect story. It's tough. But yeah, Triple H love him for Sammy, so I'm gonna stick with Sammy. I'm gonna ride with him.
Rocky lost in Rocky 3 as well. I'm just saying.
Yeah, he lost in all of them, right? Almost.
Yeah,
pretty much, right?
Lost to him first, and then the rematch. So again, I'm just saying. But
we don't want, come on, it's WrestleMania.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Jaxie, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I've gone with Sammy ultimately on this one, but this was a tough one because ultimately it goes back to what what Monty discussed earlier about Chad Gable. I was like slightly disappointed that it was not him that was being elevated here in this situation. But like, yeah, if not Sammy, then who at this point? So I've gone with Sammy.
Gina?
Oh God, this is difficult because I am also on the sense that I feel like the ultimate Cinderella story would have been Chad Gable being in this position and taking that belt from Gunther. And do I truly believe that Sammy should get a win over Gunther? Not really, but I feel like they're going to go with that anyway. As yeah, we need some sort of face win. So ultimately, I've gone Sammy, but I won't be mad if Gunther retains.
You can really doubt a decision sometimes, but I'm going to go with it. Because again, in my head now, again, but it ruins my nights. But the thing is, if Cody wins, right,
and we need Gunther in the main event, James,
and we need
him in the main
event level heel
to
feud with him after WrestleMania.
Think about it
on SmackDown. Gunther would be perfect, and then you've got the Bash at Berlin coming up with everything like this, but. Much like Roman Reigns, I'll believe it when I see it. So, I've again, Ilya Dragunov coming up and beating Gunther is another story that would be added to the kind of legacy, and maybe that's my heart. And so, God damn it, I'm gonna go Gunther to retain. I nearly went like Sami Zayn DQ, but it is WrestleMania, and that's not going to happen. But we don't know. Chad might be out there, and again, his intentions might be good. But who knows? We're not even talking about Imperium. That's the thing about Gunther I love, is the fact if it was Roman, it's like, the bloodline will get involved. And with Gunther, it's like, no, it is just going to be him. If we do see it running, it'll be quite a surprise. But fuck it, I'm going to go Gunther. Up next, Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch for the Women's Championship. Gina, what are you reckoning?
Oh God, right. Do you know what? I'm just gonna keep this short and sweet. Even though I feel like Becky's gonna get the win, I can't give her my vote. I'm giving my vote to my mommy and my queen, and I want her to retain. So I'm going with Rhea to retain. End of.
Fine. Jaxie?
I mean, this was a tough one. I mean, this one was really kind of choosing with your heart or with your brain. But at this point, ultimately, I've actually gone with Rhea to retain.
Rhea to retain. Monty?
Yeah, man, WrestleMania, wrestling in general is about star making performances. And I just feel like similar to when Sasha, even though this was reversed because Sasha was the champion with Bianca, or just, Charlotte and Rhea, even though, again, this is a situation where Rhea would be defending instead. And I know her reign has been long, maybe even uninteresting at times because of the lack thereof of a division. But this is one of those situations where I'm like, Becky's made. She is who she is. I don't know what we gain out of her winning this title match, to be honest, in a long-term sense. And that's no offense to Becky, because I know they've been telling this story a while. The man versus mommy, it makes a lot of sense. It's been written in stone. But I am going Rhea Ripley to retain. I just don't think Rhea will lose this match to Becky. It would be a good match. Hopefully, it'll be just as good as what Charlotte could get out of Rhea. But we'll see. But I don't think Becky will win.
Well, just because it's all fair and as well, of course, we're going to take turns doing predictions. So tomorrow night when we do it, we'll pick up where we carry on, which will be me. So that means the last prediction for night one goes to Jaxie. and it's Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns.
No.
Good luck.
Oh.
Wait, there were stipulations with this match, wasn't there? Remind me what they were again with the stipulations.
I'll give you stipulations. So the thing is, if Cody and Seth win, the Bloodline are banned from ringside on Sunday. But if The Rock and Roman win, then it's Bloodline rules, which means anything goes. Much like we saw on Raw, where The Rock can come out and start whipping Cody, and Rock has promised to whip Cody in front of his mama and pass him the belt.
Yeah, I'll go first. I'm going to go Rock and Roman.
You're offering, go for it.
Yeah, I'm going to go Rock and Roman. I think that they're going to want a Bloodline Rules match for the night 2. You're going to want that big, impactful match. And I think, getting the Bloodline band definitely will help. But I just think that ultimately they want the carnage and the fun that The Rock has been bringing these past few weeks. So I'm going to go with Rock and Roman to win this one.
Jaxie?
See, because this is difficult, because then ultimately, with like potential like thoughts on the decision going into night 2 on Seth v Roman, you're ultimately like condemning Seth to losing both nights, and it's kind of like, do you want to take either risk at this point? So I'm really I'm really torn.
This is what it means, everybody. You hear that?
Okay. Again, what I'm hoping happens, I'm hoping that maybe Cody's going to take the pin, so it's not really going to hurt Seth. Because if I've got Cody to win the next night, so Cody's probably being humble and like, pin because I'm going to be winning the next night anyway. I don't know. That's how I see it. I'm risking it.
They keep on talking about him finishing the story, right? And so what about if, actually, do you know what? I'm going to go with Bloodline to win, because there's nothing better than actually throwing like a curveball just before the end of telling a story, to really put doubt in all of the fans as to whether or not Cody can do it. So do you know what? This has actually helped me make my decision. I'm going Bloodline to win on night 1.
Monty?
Yeah, I mean, James, I asked you this because you sound like you're still having a tough time. While you've been envisioning this match, have you envisioned Roman or The Rock getting pinned yet by anybody?
Listen to that. Rock and Roman getting pinned. Is that
Have you
really going to
envisioned
happen?
Yeah,
No.
that's my point. That's the thing
That's
that's been
the
killing
thing.
me this
I
entire
can't,
time.
because if The Rock gets pinned, it's not going to be by Seth. It's going to be with Cody.
It got to be Cody.
But again,
it has to be Cody.
if Cody beats then Roman on the second night, then you've taken away Cody versus The Rock because he's already beat him in that tag match.
Mm-hmm.
Again, Roman can't win. He's not going to lose 2 nights. Cody can't lose 2 nights. And then this fucks me because then does that mean Seth loses 2 nights?
I don't see that either.
Well,
I don't see that either. I see Cody going 1-1. That's the only logic I got is Cody gets screwed. He gets screwed like pinned. Screwed bad.
I don't know.
He can get pinned tonight if he overcomes the hell that Sunday is gonna be. That's all I'm saying.
If he loses both nights? What if he do
well,
that?
All right, they lose both nights, then you know what the deal is. What do you mean? It's over. It's Roman and The Rock wins. That's it. I just don't see you having The Rock available 2 nights in a row, and you tell Rock, you know what, you can sit out Sunday because you did so good on Saturday and you lost, so we can have a straight up one-on-one match between Roman and Cody that we should have. That you know what I mean? Like, because I don't know how, to be honest, and people forget this. I don't know how much better Roman and Cody can do from what they did in their straight up match last year before Solo got involved. Like, that was some of the best wrestling I had ever seen, just straight up. But if you add this new element of bloodline rules, and it's just Cody and you say, we all talk about it, Cody loves getting tortured. So Cody getting his ass whooped for a good 25 minutes until we get an Avengers lineup is probably what I'm hoping for night 2, and what I think a lot of fans may be hoping for. And I just don't see The Rock. I just don't see The Rock getting pinned by either side. And I'm with you guys. I don't see Seth getting pinned twice because it just don't feel right for a world champion, especially for Seth, who's been basically unbeatable if you look at his run in big matches.
Put in Hulk Hogan or Stone Cold or whoever. Would Stone Cold lose night 1 and then win night 2?
It wasn't 2 nights, though. It wasn't 2 nights.
He'd win both nights if it's him. What would be
but
bigger
is Cody
than
Rhodes like Stone Cold?
For a
First
generation?
of all, Stone Cold wouldn't lose anyway.
What would be bigger for a new generation? This whole new start of a new era with Cody beating Rock on night 1.
So you convinced yourself that he's gonna pin both of them?
Oh no, fuck no! I'm going Rock and Roman. But again,
so what are you talking about? Stop trying to make me do something stupid just because you got some fantasy in your mind. Like, no, Cody is an underdog. He's somebody that everybody wants to see fight against the Machine, and we got a final boss character here. Everybody, and guess what? What do you do against a final boss in video game? You get your ass whooped the first time. That's what you do when you fight against the final boss in a video game, and then you come back and you fight and you come back against the odds and you win the next time. And that's what I think is going to happen. I think that's the story. So, yeah, I'm going with the bloodline.
Well, I guess we're all happy with our choices. So, whatever happens, I'm going to bed after the
I'm not happy with Jim. I'm not happy with Jim Russo now. That's the only one I regret.
That would be the match.
It is what it is.
Gives up on.
Now, hold up. Now, if Jim wins, though. If Jim wins,
no trouble. I need Gunther. I need Gunther bad. That's my one as well. So, again, we've all got choices. We've all got chances. And we're all happy. So, let's do it all again tomorrow night, shall we? So, we'll have... Not only will we have to go through night 2 predictions, but we'll also review Stand and Deliver. And, of course, a masturbate. We will masturbate live on the podcast. But that is it. Don't forget, of course, all social media, Twitter at the Domino Podcast. I'm at the Domino Journal. You can find the entire Domino team on the Twitter banner. Monty, where people find and listen to you?
At my Monty Pod on Twitter, like you mentioned in your banner, or just type in Mind and Monty wherever you listen to podcasts. You check out the old episodes and all of that, what I have going on. We'll see. I might do a big, WrestleMania recap at some point, but things have gotten a lot busier around the house. So we'll see how things go. But hey, either way it goes, like I said, follow me at My Monthly Pod, and you definitely be hearing back from me for not going into night two tomorrow.
Well, like I said, Stand and Deliver is going to be off the chart. Jaxie, where can people find and subscribe or follow you if you want? Long as it's not
I'm across X, Instagram, and I'm also on Twitch, all at the same name at Jaxie Scarlett.
Gina?
You can find me on the same at Purple Pain.
The Double Up also on Facebook and Instagram across all good platforms. Send us an email, the Double Up Podcast at gmail.com. YouTube, the Double Up Podcast. We will let clips and podcasts go at the same time on YouTube as do SoundCloud on your phone. Also Spotify and iTunes where you can download, subscribe, rate and review there. So that is it. Our next episode is tomorrow night and it's Stand and Deliver. But until then, I've been James Rowlands and was joined by the fantastic Jaxie Scarlett. Thank you for joining me, Jaxie. I'm sure you're happy with your choices.
I'm nervous. Not gonna lie. So let's see how things go. Everyone enjoy night one of WrestleMania. Join us for night two of the podcast and see how our predictions go and see the outcome of our choices. We'll know whether or not I regret soon enough.
The thing is that we don't have to tell anybody kind of the result because whoever's on there going, yeah, you're right. Yeah, it was right, wasn't it? Yeah, like we know that's.
Yeah.
Oh, did you win or lose? We weren't sure.
Yeah, I know. We'll soon see.
We'll see. Also joined by the mind of Monty. Monty, thank you very much for joining us. And again, NXT tomorrow. We get to show the girls even our little NXT family.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's gonna be good. It was a great show, so I can't wait to talk about it. And this was one of the hardest shows to predict. So now that I have went on that limb and just made those choices, I don't care anymore what happens. Now I'm just gonna get drunk and have a good time.
And I think that's the thing, as we're also joined by the genius of Gina. And like I said, we have been on an emotional roller coaster for this 3 hours. When we think about where we started and where we finished, and we get to do it all over again tomorrow. After staying up, I should say to all the American people listening, it's like 11:30 here, so we're gonna have to stay up till about 4:00 in the morning to watch WrestleMania and try and fit and Stand and Deliver tomorrow. It's great being a wrestling fan, Gina, isn't it?
Truly, truly is. I can't necessarily say I will stay up all night, so I may have to watch the rest tomorrow morning. But still, I enjoy it. I'm going to stay up as long as I can to watch it, and I hope everyone enjoys.
Shadow of a doubt. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. Bye.